The story begins with Hirayama Tatsuya, a 29-year-old man working in a high-pressure job at a so-called black company. His life takes an unexpected turn when, after a hiking trip, he suddenly finds himself caught in a magic circle. In the blink of an eye, Hirayama is whisked away to a completely different world. Upon arrival, Hirayama is brought to the king's court of the Kingdom of Alice. The king, brimming with excitement, warmly greets him and proclaims him as the legendary hero they've been waiting for. Hirayama, still in disbelief, learns that he's not alone in this bizarre situation. Alongside him are other individuals, also from Earth, summoned here for a critical purpose. The king explains the dire circumstances of their world. Every 100 years, powerful monsters emerge, wreaking havoc on cities and countries. The kingdom's knights and adventurers have valiantly fought against these creatures, but their efforts are no longer sufficient. Thus, the desperate strategy of hero summoning was employed. A man presents Hirayama and the others with a skill plate, a device that reveals the unique abilities bestowed upon each hero. The skills are formidable. One hero possesses the mighty hero's thunderbolt, another wields the sage wisdom, and a third is blessed with the saintess's gospel. Everyone, that is, except Hirayama, who finds himself with the seemingly mundane skill of crops producer, coupled with an expertise in farm tools management. His new companions can't help but mock him for receiving such an ordinary ability. Confused and slightly offended, Hirayama questions the king about why he's been given such an unusual skill. The king, however, swiftly diverts the topic and announces their imminent departure to the imperial capital. There, they are to undergo training to prepare for the impending battle against the monsters from the dimensional rift. The journey to the capital involves crossing the large, foreboding Lost Forest, a daunting task that will take half a day. The Lost Forest is known to be a perilous dungeon, a haven for powerful monsters. Thankfully, they are given an amulet by a clergyman, which will help them navigate the forest safely. Hirayama, in conversation with a fellow female companion, remarks how this world doesn't feel like the typical another world scenario. She explains that it's because of the amulet, which dispels their need to worry. Urged by the other heroes to keep pace, Hirayama realizes the amulet's protection is time-limited to 48 hours. He senses the others' impatience with him and understands why. He's the only older man in a group of 8 incredibly strong individuals who already seem to know each other well. Feeling somewhat isolated, he's not included in their camaraderie. A boy named Miyamoto expresses frustration, calling Hirayama a stupid farmer and a burden. He emphasizes that they are not in a game and can actually die if they are not careful. A girl adds that the king mentioned many people from Earth have perished in their failed attempts to survive in this world. Another boy asks what they should do, and Miyamoto dismisses the idea of sharing money, equipment, or anything else with the so-called stupid farmer. The next morning, the group decides to leave Hirayama in the forest as they continue their journey. A girl who spoke with Hirayama earlier protests, stating that it's unfair. In this dangerous forest, he doesn't even have a compass, and after some time, the effect of the amulet will wear off. Miyamoto gets angry, grabbing her face, and asserts that the survival rate will drop if they take him along. He insists that it's not the time to show mercy, and that Hirayama should be grateful they didn't kill him. When Hirayama wakes up in the forest, he finds himself alone. Soon he realizes that the others have ditched him. He decides to check what he has and discovers a sleeping bag, a flask, a water bottle, a lighter, a cooking pot, a knife, a plate, and his phone. Additionally, he has some spices, a bar of chocolate, and a bread, almost the same stuff he had when returning from hiking. The group took all the money and food he received from the king. Alone in the vast forest filled with dangerous monsters, Hirayama recalls that the town is at a considerable distance. Uncertain if he can navigate without a map and unaware if he is heading in the right direction, he realizes he must survive and adapt to this unfamiliar place. He thinks the most important things for the time being are a secure water source, a shelter, and finding food. For now, he decides to find a shelter. He discovers a cave and decides to light a fire there to scare animals away from their dens. If he doesn't do this, insects will bother him while sleeping. He only has 1 day's water left. He can survive without food for a week, but he cannot survive without water for 2 to 3 days. Suddenly, he remembers seeing a river on his way and goes back to it. However, it's muddier than he thought. He needs to boil and filter its water before drinking, but he's concerned about how to get rid of the subtle particles. He wishes he could use the internet. He takes out his skill plate, noticing that he has acquired the internet level 10 skill. Skill level is mixed at level 5, and level 10 is the breakthrough level. He takes out his smartphone with an infinite battery and strong signals, thinking it's a cheat skill but grateful for it. He searches how to filter water on the internet and succeeds in making a DIY water filter. He boils the filtered water and gets crystal clear drinking water from it, finding it delicious. Now he has found a secure water source and shelter. All that's left is the food situation. He wonders what fruits and animals he can find in the forest, but comes up empty. Soon he sees the decaying skeleton of a human, finding a hoe near the body. Although it's filthy and rusted, he takes it along with him. He notices a small broken house at a short distance and moves inside to see if anyone is there. It seems like someone used to farm, and he wonders if they got an illness or something. He finds some tableware but no food stock. Hirayama thinks it would be good if he could plow some land and grow fresh produce, but it looks like bad land, and he cannot grow anything even if he plows it. Suddenly, he acquires the skill Seed Creation level 10. With this skill, he can cultivate the forest, growing bean sprouts. Soon, he magically has a lot of seeds in his hand, surprising Hirayama. He says it makes no sense and is shocked to have another cheat skill. Hirayama thinks bean sprouts don't need a lot of light to grow, and if he plants them in dimly lit soil for a week, they'll be ready to eat. He decides to plow the land with his rusty hoe, and as soon as he starts, the skill Cultivating Tools level 10 gets activated. He plows so fast it feels as light as a feather, confirming it's definitely some kind of cheat skill. Soon he finishes plowing and makes a shed for bean sprouts with the help of wooden logs. The skill Crops Cultivation level 10 gets activated, helping the crops grow quickly. However, Hooray thinks he cannot live off beans alone and needs some kind of carbohydrate other than bean sprouts. He considers growing vegetables with a lot of carbs, such as lotus root and carrots, to use as a substitute for rice and grains. The seed creation skill activates again, and he soon obtains carrot seeds. While he would like to grow rice or wheat in the future, he decides to put it off for now. As he contemplates this, he sees a giant wolf-like creature with long black fur drooling. Hirayama is sure it's one of the demon Silverfangs. If the charm of the amulet has worn off, this monster is coming toward him. It stares into his eyes, opens its mouth filled with scary fangs, and is after Hooray. Soon, the farming tools skill level 10 activates, and he defeats the monster with his glowing hoe. The tool levels up. He grabs a piece of demon meat and thinks of cooking a meal with it as he is feeling very hungry. The food he brought with him is almost gone, and he doubts if he can survive on only bean sprouts and carrots, so he needs to keep searching for food. Soon he sees a snake crawling toward him, and he wonders if he can eat it. He thinks snake meat is probably similar to poultry in terms of protein, as he found on the internet. The snake looks like those he had back in Japan, so it's probably edible. He burns some of his hair to attract snakes due to the similarity in sound between burning hair and snake reproduction. He manages to catch 2 snakes without much difficulty. Soon he notices that the beans are already sprouting. The next day he decides to cook snakes for lunch. He peels the snake skins and tries to cook them in a way that will make them delicious. He creates a delicious looking meal with strips of snake and beans, adding salt and pepper. Hirayama finds the meal a little bland, so he adds more seasoning, making it exceptionally crunchy. He finishes the whole pot and gets ready to sleep in his sleeping bag. Looking forward to trying the carrots the next day, he sees that they are ready to eat. This time, he decides to cook snake with beans and carrots, but he realizes he's run out of seasoning, a crucial ingredient. Even if he cooks or steams them, he doubts there will be any flavor without seasoning. Nevertheless, he's glad he has at least something to eat. As soon as he puts the food in his mouth, he likes the taste. The carrots are sweet, tasting more like a fruit than a vegetable, and the beans are crunchy. He is happy with this meal. Meanwhile, a girl with long bunny ears is watching him from outside the cave, drooling over the carrots as they look very tempting to her. The rabbit girl cannot hold herself anymore and moves inside the cave. Hirayama is amazed to see a little girl with rabbit ears. He wonders if he really is in a fantasy world. The little girl panics, the kind of rabbit who still loves carrots. She is so cute. He must have reincarnated in a fantasy world. He says to the girl that she was definitely adorable and asks her if she wants some. The little rabbit girl tells him she is from a family of rabbits who reside in this forest, and big people usually call them pocket-sized rabbits. When they become adults, they have to carry out a ritual and bring back treasure to their family so their growth will be recognized, and by treasure she means carrots. Hirayama thinks it's understandable that among these rabbit people, carrots must be considered valuable. He offers her a ball of steamed carrots that was left over from his breakfast. She quickly starts eating it. Even a single slice of carrot was big enough for her. The rabbit girl says it is the first time she has tasted a carrot this sweet. Hirayama agrees with her. The girl thinks this will be a great treasure if she can take it back home. She will be a hero. Hirayama offers her if she wants to take some. He knows that she wants to return back home as a hero, so he gives her a bundle of 3 carrots, and the girl happily leaves. Later at night, Hirayama could not catch even a single snake. He thinks that is because he used less hair this time. He is worried if he will be able to survive on just carrots and beans without any protein. While eating his meal, he thinks tofu is rich in protein, so maybe he can start cultivating some. Suddenly, he hears a strange noise. It turns out that the rabbit girl has come back with her fellows, and they have brought a huge boar for him as a thank you gift for the sweet carrots. This boar may be over 100 kilograms. The rabbits are stronger than they look, but as thanks, the rabbits expect him to give them carrots. Hirayama thinks they'd want to exchange this animal for carrots. Hirayama asks them if they caught this animal themselves, to which the rabbit says they are from a hunting tribe after all. Hirayama is confused and asks, "Rabbits are supposed to be herbivorous, don't they eat vegetables like carrots?" The rabbit says they eat carrots only for indulgence. Their main diet is meat-based. He is shocked. The rabbits in this world are omnivorous. The rabbit girls say they will stay here for a while. They can exchange meat for carrots. There are 10 of them. So from then, the number of people living there quickly multiplied. Hirayama searches on the internet on how to butcher a boar and starts working. The rabbit girls also help him in slicing the meat. After properly slicing the meat, only the skin and horn of the boar are left. Hirayama makes a delicious boar steak with boiled bean sprouts and carrots. The ingredients are boar meat, bean sprout, carrot, salt, and pepper. The steak looks good and has a nice aroma. The meat looks like pork meat but does not taste as good. Anyhow, the protein problem has been sorted. The next day, Hirayama is busy repairing the old hut. The rabbit girls come and say it's lunchtime, so they are going to prepare food. Hirayama thinks the rabbits are not a threat. If he gives them carrots, they will capture monsters for him and even help him with the chores. At lunch, one of the rabbits asks why he is repairing this hut. Hirayama tells them he is moving into this place because of them helping him. He has more time. The rice and wheat will grow in probably 1 to 2 months. After harvesting, he will focus on looking for any sign of other people. Until that point, he will be spending his time here. There is no point in staying in that cave. The rabbits are excited and say they will try to help him. Hirayama has run out of nails, so he asks the rabbits if they can help him. The rabbit girls say they have found some minerals nearby, and they will help him if he gives them some carrots. They call the corpses of the adventurous minerals. They use the metal from their armor and sword to smelt new metals. The rabbits have pretty rigid and sharp teeth, which are handy for smelting. Furthermore, they can hollow out the wooden tablewares. Their bodies are rather small, so they are most suitable for detailed jobs compared to humans, and despite that, rewarding them with even a single carrot would be enough to satisfy them. To put it simply, they are ridiculously useful. Hirayama has finished repairing the hut in a single day. To protect the warehouse against thieves and rats, he has assigned the best pocket-sized rabbits as guards. He celebrates moving into this new shack. The rabbit asks what he means by celebrating. Hirayama assures them that they will like it. He cooks a nice meal for them, which is a special curry made with boar, carrots, and Japanese curry roux. The rabbits love it and ask for more. Hirayama doesn't even get a single bite. He is wondering what he will eat now. He sees a small rabbit girl sleeping next to him. He pats her to thank her. The next day, he wakes up even past lunchtime. He asks the rabbit to wake him up early next time. Later, he finds out that the rabbits have left without any kind of notice. He starts working on his farm all by himself, slicing a piece of meat and cooking lunch for himself. He is feeling depressed, missing the rabbits. He says, where did they go off to? Soon he sees a rabbit girl who has size like a normal human being, is carrying all the little rabbit girls in her hand and thanks Hirayama for taking care of her children. He asks her who she is. She tells him that her name is Sonia. Her appearance makes him think that she is the queen of rabbits. He asks her why she has come here. She tells him that the kids told her they found a place that produces amazing carrots, so they are moving to a new den here. Hirayama thinks if they will provide him with the meat, he will have no complaint. The queen says she is looking forward to knowing him, and so the number of people living there increased further. Later, Hirayama says he should start conserving his seasonings because he has run out again. Lying on the floor, he says the sweetness of carrots stands out more without this. All the meal will still be delicious. However, Hirayama thinks it's super delicious. It is a shame that he has no seasoning. He thinks he would have a barbecue if they had more people, and some sweet and salty yakiniku sauce would go perfectly with the meat. He wishes he could get his hands on some Japanese seasoning. Suddenly, he gets a new skill activated, Goods from Other Dimensions level 10. He can hear the sound of something being teleported. Soon, a shrine and an offering box that say Abundance of Harvest appear. Hirayama wonders why this is here. Suddenly, a voice of the god of abundant harvest comes from the box. It says as he is the master of agriculture, consorting with him is within his range of ability. Hirayama has no idea what is going on here. Why did the good skill summon the harvesting god? The voice says it is natural for him to doubt his words. Hirayama wonders if it read his mind. The voice says, cultivating a bountiful harvest would be a child's play for me. To achieve that alone should be enough for him. Tomorrow, living a comfortable life is paramount for most, but it would trouble me if he had stopped farming. Hirayama wonders if he sucks that much at farming. Anyways, Hirayama says he wishes to receive some seasoning. The voice tells him that it can easily provide him with some seasoning. Hirayama thinks it is great and asks what he has to do. The harvesting god gives Hirayama something that looks like a gift catalog for a wedding and asks him to open it. He opens the seasoning section, but he is shocked to see that it costs money. The harvesting god tells him there are not a lot of farmers that worship him these days, and due to this fact, he is broke. Hirayama wonders if gods even have a use for money. The harvesting god tells him the currency of this world would be converted into Japanese yen once it is deposited in the box. Hirayama turns back to Sonia and asks if she has some money by any chance. She said they do not really take part in trading culture, but they have a bag of gold coins that they collected from the corpses. She gives him the bag full of coins and says she will want a carrot in return for this bag. Hirayama drops a gold coin into the offering box, and his credit appears as 1 yen. He is shocked to see that. The harvesting god says that is how it works, but Hirayama is angry, thinking it's ridiculous. Regardless of how you look at it, changing this world's gold coin into Japanese yen should value up to a few thousand minimum. The harvesting god says his resistance is a facade. He really wants to take all of his money. Hirayama pours the whole bag of coins into the offering box and gets a bottle of sauce, his most desired yakiniku sauce. He makes a delicious meal with it, yakiniku dip boar. Sonia and her little rabbit girls are very happy to have this meal. Hirayama also likes the dish. He says it feels like all of his taste buds have been sparked to life. He is very happy with how this dish turned out. Although the beans have absorbed meat fat, they still retain their original crunch, and the carrots are sweet as well. Later, Sonia tells him that when the rabbits eat a lot of meat, they feel an urge to mate and asks if he wants to mate with her. Hirayama is shocked to hear that. Sonia says that one of her children told her that he has an amazing technique, and she wants him to use that technique on her. Hirayama seems concerned about her age and asks if she isn't too young for this. Sonia says the rabbits, like her, live a very long life, and as for her age, she is 22. The next morning unfolded, and Hirayama found himself awakening next to Sonia. As the day progressed, he made his way to his farm, where he was met with a surprising sight. More crops than before, now featuring 3 distinct varieties. This unexpected abundance left him perplexed, prompting thoughts about the delightful evening he had experienced. Contemplating whether the variety in his crops was a result of the previous night's food, Hirayama immersed himself in his work on the farm. Amidst the toil of farming, a sudden interruption disrupted the routine. Emerging from behind a tree was a young girl adorned with fox ears and a tail, causing Hirayama a momentary fright. Inquisitive about her identity, he was informed by Elisa, the fox girl, that she belonged to the fox tribe. In response to Hirayama's inquiry about her intentions, Elisa emphasized the importance of acknowledging his human identity in the Forest of No Return, a boundary that delineated the human and demon worlds. Here, amidst the lush greenery and mystical atmosphere, he, as a human, was carving out his existence through the establishment of his own farm. The revelation of this unique reality left Hirayama contemplating whether he had unwittingly stepped into a fantasy game, where the ordinary pursuit of farming took on extraordinary significance. As the conversation unfolded, Elisa introduced 2 essential tools, the scented bag and the barrier, employed for warding off demons. The barrier served as a formidable shield, protecting against monstrous attacks, while the scented bag emitted a repugnant odor detested by demon monsters. Hirayama, curious about these items, sought clarification on their nature, delving into the practicalities of demon defense. Inquisitive about Hirayama's presence in this mystical location, Elisa highlighted their array of products effective in fending off monsters. Hirayama, harboring a degree of skepticism, mulled over the potential variety of excuses that could explain his arrival. Elisa, undeterred, probed further about monsters, prompting Hirayama to consider the complex nature of his reality. The topic then shifted to Elisa's own identity as she revealed herself to be a snatcher. She elaborated on their role in the hazardous dungeon nearby, where they retrieved equipment from deceased explorers. This salvaged gear was then traded in the town where the guild was located, with a 10% commission allocated to the families of the deceased. Hirayama, expressing concern over the apparent injustice of risking lives for such a modest commission, voiced his reservations. Elisa acknowledged the validity of his point, but explained the prevailing wisdom of entering the dangerous dungeon as a group, a collective approach offering a higher likelihood of success. When Hirayama suddenly becomes aware that she has mentioned a town, she inquires about its location. He is informed by Elisa that the town is approximately 40 kilometers to the southeast of where they are located. Hirayama, who could not contain his excitement at the prospect of a town full of people, begs her not to dash his hopes. However, Elisa cautions him about the political unrest that is occurring in the town and encourages him to give it some thought. Despite their disappointment, Hirayama and Elisa continue their conversation while drinking herbal tea. Elisa is taken aback when she finds out that Hirayama's fellow companions introduced him to other members of the team. She is taken aback when she learns that there are additional individuals as well. Soon after, a pocket rabbit pounces on Hirayama's shoulder and begins to play. The pocket rabbit is a battle clan that is capable of defeating an A-class death boar, according to Elisa, the fox girl, who is shocked to see it. She also says that the pocket rabbits are very dangerous. She tells a tale about a king from a distant region who smashed one of their carrots, which resulted in a bloody war in which the pocket rabbits set fire to the king's palace and destroyed the towns that were located nearby. Hirayama, the young boy, is under the impression that he can tame the pocket rabbits by providing them with carrots and developing an emotional attachment to them. When Elisa inquires as to whether or not he grew the carrots himself, Hirayama responds that the rabbits enjoyed the carrots that he gave them, and as a token of their gratitude, they brought him a wild boar. There is no doubt in Elisa's mind that these carrots are not common carrots. Elisa recommends getting rid of the devil demon teeth as soon as possible because they belong to the boar that the rabbits brought him. These teeth are completely useless and should be removed as soon as possible. She begins her search for the remains of the boar and strikes a deal with Hirayama to receive them in exchange for her compensation. She gives him a bag full of gold coins and promises to return in 4 days with the remaining money after selling them in town. He does not care about them, and she gives him the bag. After returning, Sonia, who is Hirayama's companion, inquires as to whether or not the fox girl is a guest. As soon as the fox girl has the realization that the queen of pocket rabbits is present, she passes out. Pocket rabbits, on the other hand, are engaging in combat with a gigantic creature that resembles an eagle. Excited, Hirayama cuts the eagle into pieces and discovers that the meat is comparable to that of duck. It is revealed to him by Elisa that they have captured a death hawk, a monster of the S-class, and that everything is selling for an absurd amount. Hirayama is perplexed as to how the pocket rabbits are able to capture such monstrous creatures, and Elisa suggests that he must be engaging in some obscene behavior in order to do so. In addition to presenting Hirayama with a bag containing 600 gold coins, Elisa, also known as the Fox Girl, reveals that she came to pay the price for the body parts of the devil boar. When Hirayama inquires about the reason behind the bag's diminutive size and light weight, Elisa explains that it contains orichalcum bars that are each worth 100 gold coins. The young man is dissatisfied, but he makes the decision to express his gratitude to the Fox Girl by presenting her with a meal. Among the delectable dishes that he prepares, death hawk courage and deep-fried carrots, everyone takes pleasure in eating. Elisa claims that it is the best thing she has ever tried, and Sonia and the pocket rabbits are also pleased with the meal at the same time. Elisa states that she has a comprehension of the reasons behind the attachment that the pocket rabbits have to him. After trying the meal, Hirayama is impressed by how delicious it is. He imagines that it would be even more delicious if it were served with rice and a side dish. Elisa inquires about the possibility of returning here to share a meal with them once more. Soon after, Hirayama's most cherished desire to gather garlic is granted, and he makes the decision to prepare a dinner with a garlic-centered theme. Pocket rabbits are of the opinion that it is wonderful. Instantaneously, there is a knock at the door, and a stunning young lady who is adorned with bat wings is standing there, requesting that she could have something to eat. Hariyama found his evening routine disrupted by an unexpected visitor. Maria, a succubus banished from the demon world, manifested, drawn by the alluring fragrance of Hirayama's culinary creations. Hungry and stripped of her powers, Maria's presence added an intriguing dimension to the group dynamic. Despite the peculiar circumstances, Hirayama warmly invited her to partake in their humble dinner. Maria's delight at the feast mirrored a divine banquet, fostering an atmosphere of camaraderie. The boy encouraged Maria to savor each flavor slowly, embodying hospitality. Sonia, too, expressed happiness at the unanticipated company, creating a sense of connection. As Maria surrendered to the delectable flavors, an unforeseen event unfurled, the resurgence of Maria's succubus powers. The hut resonated with a resounding boom, signaling her supernatural reawakening. Reveling in her revitalized state, Maria shared an intriguing detail about her powers. Garlic served as a conduit for her seductive energy. Seeking to harness this allure, she playfully attempted to draw Hirayama under her influence. Initial resistance gave way to a unique, if unconventional, interaction that left both parties with a memorable experience. The subsequent night took an unexpected turn as Sonia and Maria engaged in a playful yet heated dispute over who would share Hirayama's company. A whimsical decision ensued: they would all sleep together. Despite Hirayama's lack of regret, the unconventional arrangement left him feeling unusually drained. The night's events marked a significant shift, not only in the dynamics among the trio, but also in the trajectory of their shared narrative. The following morning unfolded with the arrival of the Fox Girl, delivering a bag of gold as compensation for the remains of the Death Hawk. While Hirayama initially reveled in the monetary gain, Maria swiftly shattered his contentment with the revelation. Elisa had taken advantage of them. According to Maria, they should have received a more substantial sum, at least 1,500 gold coins, for the Death Hawk, but their earnings amounted to a mere 750 gold coins. In the face of Maria's righteous anger, Hirayama attempted to maintain a semblance of calm. They set on a journey as the small pocket rabbits, ever enthusiastic, presented a new opportunity. A large bird for more courage. Maria, perceptive and pragmatic, viewed this as a chance to investigate the market value of such birds in the nearby town. The group set forth on a journey, with the small pocket rabbits exerting their efforts to drag the sizable bird along. Sonia, fueled by the prospect of shopping, and Maria, ever resourceful, suggested finding a suitable place for lunch on the way. However, their plans encountered an unexpected twist as they gazed upon the sky, revealing the presence of two colossal death hawks hovering above. In an instant, these winged behemoths descended upon Sonia, prompting her to effortlessly knock them down. The spectacle left Hirayama in awe, and Sonia, fueled by excitement, proposed the idea of taking these hawks along, envisioning a profit of 4,500 sheets. Following the encounter with the formidable dragon, Maria demonstrated her prowess by defeating the fearsome creature, showcasing combat skills honed in the demon world. The camaraderie between Sonia and Maria shone as they collaborated to conquer the monstrous adversary. While Maria reminisced about her demon world experiences, Sonia's interest pivoted toward the anticipated taste of dragon meat, revealing the diverse palette of characters in this fantastical tale. Hariyama, captivated by the prospect of savoring dragon meat, voiced his intention to bring the prized culinary treasure home. However, the logistical challenge of transporting dragon parts to town loomed large. In a twist of fate, Hirayama's journey bestowed upon him a new skill, the item box at level 10. This newfound ability resembled an inventory box, providing a convenient solution to the predicament. With the capacity to store 3 death hawks and much more, Hirayama expressed gratitude to the king for the enigmatic cheat skills integral to their adventures. As the group approached a town on the horizon, the allure of culinary exploration beckoned. Sampling street food in the market became an inevitable pit stop, yet the unanimous verdict echoed disappointment, with all finding the offerings distasteful. Undeterred, they pressed on, reaching the Adventurers Guild, a hub of activity and potential trades. At the guild's reception, the group encountered a charming girl adorned with elf ears. Inquiring about their intentions, she was taken aback when presented with the impressive remains of a death hawk. The receptionist apprised them of the hawk's value, a staggering 1,500 gold coins, or the equivalent of 15 orichalcum. The shock of the exorbitant price resonated with the group. prompting reflections on the perceived exploitation by the fox, Elisa. Curiosity prompted Hirayama to pose a hypothetical scenario to the receptionist: how much for 2 hawks? Amused by the question, she highlighted the rarity of capturing more than one at a time, a feat challenging even for seasoned adventurers. However, when confronted with the reality of a second hawk and an arch-dragon in their possession, her astonishment reached new heights. Apologizing for her initial surprise, she acknowledged the dragon's elevated rank, hinting at the group's potential significance in destiny. Yet, Hirayama, ever humble, deflected the notion of grandeur, asserting their identity as mere farmers on an extraordinary journey. The receptionist tells them the dragon arch costs 10,000 gold coins and 1,500 gold coins for each hawk, making a total of 14,500 gold pieces, which is equal to 1,040,500 yen. However, the offering box will only receive it as 14,500 yen. Hirayama thinks that he will get a 500 ml beer when he gets home. Unfortunately, the receptionist tells them that there will not be enough money to give them in the safe of this small-town guild. The fastest she can arrange the money for them is 1:00 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, so they decide to find a decent lodge for the night. Soon, a man enters the guild and says a disaster has been confirmed in the Forest of No Returns, and he needs a guild master. He tells that the evil Cyclops is at SSS rank. The receptionist says they should report about this to the king. But someone from the guild suggests there will be no use because the king cannot handle it even from imperial capital. Hirayama couldn't help but ponder the mysterious and overpowering nature of the looming threat. Desperate for insights, he turned to Maria, who revealed that the monster stood a colossal 50 meters tall. The gravity of the situation weighed heavily on him. A hushed murmur spread through the guild as news circulated about the presence of Marcus, the legendary S-rank adventurer, in their midst. As Marcus deliberated the daunting odds of facing the Cyclops alone, a glint of recognition flashed in his eyes as he spotted Maria. A nostalgic smile crossed his lips, and he greeted her warmly, reminiscing about past adventures. In the midst of their reunion, Marcus acknowledged the dire need for comrades. Addressing the crowd, Marcus sought allies for the impending battle, emphasizing the 50% chance of success if he had support. Amidst the tension, Maria's proposal to join forces sparked a renewed sense of purpose. Yet Maria knew that even their combined strength might not be enough to confront the colossal Cyclops. Turning the discussion toward unconventional aid, Maria suggested recruiting Sonia and her pocket-sized rabbit queen with many daughters. Sonia, initially hesitant, was convinced by Maria's plea to protect their home from the impending danger, a threat to their beloved carrot farm. With Sonia on board, Marcus agreed to the alliance, promising an equal share of the impending reward. The air buzzed with excitement as the trio prepared for the unknown adventure. However, amidst the anticipation, Hirayama couldn't shake off his surprise at being kept out of the loop. Later on, Maria, Sonia, and Marcus confronted the giant Cyclops, a frightening monster adorned with a menacing horn on its head. The trio skillfully employed their special abilities, launching coordinated attacks that brought the monstrous creature down with surprising ease. Returning to the town, the girls found Hirayama in his hotel room. Maria expressed how she had missed him during the brief separation, hoping he felt the same. Hirayama, visibly relieved, conveyed his happiness at their safety. Sonia shared the triumphant news of the Cyclops' defeat, revealing a bounty of 50,000 gold coins. Yamaha, though thrilled, couldn't help but consider the practicality. It would likely translate to a mere 50,000 yen in the offering box. Noticing Marcus's discontent, Hirayama apologized for overlooking the situation. Marcus, seemingly annoyed, remarked on the stern gaze he received. Hirayama, expressing regret, acknowledged the big guy's displeasure. Marcus, however, reflected on Maria's past as a noble in the demon world, abandoned as a child. He had taken her in, raising her as his own. Marcus, addressing Hirayama, questioned if he was truly the right person for Maria. Suggesting a resolution outside, Marcus and Hirayama faced off in the backyard. Marcus instructed Hirayama to prepare his weapon, to which the boy nonchalantly revealed a humble hoe. Marcus, initially dismissive, grew uneasy upon seeing Hirayama's weapon, sensing a potential challenge. Despite Hirayama's vulnerable stance and evident lack of training, Marcus felt a foreboding sensation, cautioning against the impending fight. He sensed that even a graze from Hirayama could prove enough to take him down effortlessly. Marcus decided not to fight and advised Hirayama to take care of Maria in his place. He also assured Maria that she could come to him if anything went wrong. With a heavy heart, Marcus left, hoping to meet his grandchild again. Hirayama, unaware of the underlying tension, was just happy that at least Marcus turned out to be a nice guy. Later, they decided to postpone collecting the bounty for the Cyclops to avoid unnecessary trouble, showcasing the heated guilt over yesterday's catch. While in the guild, Hirayama decided to break down the dragon due to the difficulty of transporting it without an item box. One staff member of the guild intrigued him, remarking that it was an unusual wrecking yard. Hirayama recalled his childhood fascination with construction equipment, even though understanding how to use them was beyond him. The staff member asked Hirayama if he could transport the material outside the guild to cut down on costs. Hirayama showcased his inventory box, and the man believed he must possess a rare skill. The staff member noted its value, assuring him that money should not be a problem and expressing eagerness to help. Yamaha showed him his 3 death hawks and an arch-dragon, pleasing the staff. Soon, the trio of explorers left the town along with the little pocket-sized rabbits. On the way back, Maria suggested discussing methods to deal with the fox. Hirayama tried to calm her down, while Sonia felt there was no point since the fox hadn't taken any carrots. Maria insisted on some form of punishment, mentioning that if Elisa offered the same price next time, they would consider disciplinary actions after terminating the trade. However, Hirayama suggested asking for another fair price before considering disciplinary action, feeling it was a more lenient approach. Finally reaching their hut at night, Yamaha was pleased to see the delicious dragon meat. He described it as tasting like high-quality bull, surpassing even a 5-rank wolf meat. Contemplating how to cook it, he decided on a medium-rare roast steak with only salt and pepper seasoning. The meal turned out delicious, with even the pocket rabbits and Maria enjoying it. Hirayama paired the steak with soy wasabi, finding the combination divine. As they finished dinner, Maria brought drinks. Hirayama praised the red wine as the finest he had ever tasted, thinking he couldn't stop eating. Suddenly, the fox girl, Elisa, barged into their house, surprising Yamaha, who noted it wasn't her usual day. Elisa explained she was working nearby and asked if she could join them for dinner. Maria offered her a dragon liver steak, assuring her it was not available in any restaurant. Despite the earlier tension, Maria showed no restraint, even offering Elisa some wine. Hirayama was shocked at this turn of events, and Maria found it strange that, despite her earlier anger, she no longer felt that way towards Elisa. As Elisa finished her meal, she began to feel an intense heat. Realizing she had consumed arch-dragon liver, she disclosed that eating it made her feel like she had entered the mating season. Maria, with her usual boldness, suggested that if Elisa felt hot, she should consider removing some clothes. However, Hirayama, showing concern, emphasized that it shouldn't be forced. Despite his advice, Maria ignored it. Upon Elisa revealing her upper body, Maria complimented her on having a very feminine figure. Sonia and Maria playfully suggested that Hirayama had the ability to make Elisa feel all sorts of things, even suggesting she join them. Elisa, however, declined, stating that during the mating season, such actions were futile. Hirayama intervened, expressing that this was not how he wanted to handle the situation. Elisa questioned why he seemed reluctant, asking if he didn't want to be involved with her. Hirayama then reveals that something serious had happened on that day, and since then, Elisa had never swindled them again. Instead, whenever she visited, she would straightforwardly request more arch-dragon liver. The dawn of the following day brought Maria's excitement as she showcased the new dress that Hirayama had thoughtfully bought for her. He found it to be a perfect fit, appreciating how it complemented her beautifully, especially given the alluring nature of her usual attire. The long-awaited moment arrived as the rice crops were finally ready for harvest, marking the culmination of Hirayama's patient anticipation. The harvest included not only rice but also potatoes, carrots, and wheat for making bread, along with a burgeoning fruit garden. The worries about food scarcity began to dissipate, thanks to the diligence of the pocket-sized rabbits, ensuring a steady supply of resources. Amidst this bounty, however, Sonia remained a complete NEET, refraining from engaging in any activities. With a wild boar, a hawk egg, and a substantial sum of yen in the offering box, Hirayama decided to celebrate with a special dinner, katsu curry. Intrigued but unfamiliar with this dish, both Maria and Sonia expressed curiosity, prompting them to inquire about its details. In response, Hirayama shared his belief that katsu curry was perhaps the most universally beloved dish worldwide, given the widespread adoration for curry. The girls, now intrigued, eagerly anticipated trying this new culinary delight. As the pot simmered with the fragrant aroma of curry and rice, a sudden knock on the door interrupted the dinner preparations. Opening it, Hirayama was greeted by a girl with long hair tied into two ponytails, expressing surprise at the unusual group of people. Without hesitation, she entered the house, immediately turning her attention to Maria. The girl remarked that it had been a long time and inquired about the challenges Maria had faced in the demon world. Maria, visibly shocked, knelt down in a gesture of respect, addressing the girl as Cornelia-sama. Perplexed by this unexpected encounter with someone seemingly important, Hirayama couldn't help but inquire about the girl, referring to her as an old loli. Maria clarified that Cornelia was one of the 12 demon lords, residing in seclusion near the border of the human world. Despite her cute exterior, Cornelia's true form was that of the world's worst dark devil dragon. With her attention now directed towards Hirayama, Cornelia questioned how he managed both Maria and the pocket-sized rabbit queen. The situation took an unexpected turn as Cornelia requested Hirayama to prepare his weapon. Reluctantly, Hirayama grabbed his hoe, while Cornelia, acknowledging the natural affinity girls had for powerful men, pondered how he ended up with Maria and the rabbit queen. The surreal scenario left Hirayama bewildered, struggling to comprehend how a demon lord like Cornelia had found her way to their humble abode. Maria, visibly shocked and somewhat scared by Hirayama's boldness, observed the unfolding events. Cornelia then revealed the purpose of her visit: demon hunting. She expressed her disapproval of disturbances caused by the residents of their house and criticized them for setting up a residence without even a greeting. Cornelia mentioned sending an evil Cyclops for the job, which had, surprisingly, been defeated. Angered and ready for a fight, Cornelia questioned Maria and the Rabbit Queen's readiness for combat. Despite her initial anger, Cornelia decided to avoid a fight for the time being, expressing that it wasn't in her best interest. Hirayama, still surprised by Cornelia's sudden change in behavior, cautiously asked if she had come to pick a fight. Cornelia, despite her initial anger, stated that she didn't feel like fighting and preferred talking. Maria, equally astonished by Cornelia's avoidance of conflict, explained the unwritten rule that in a match of equal strength, both sides would inevitably be drawn into a fight. Maria concluded that Cornelia had recognized their strength, making it a pivotal moment in their interaction. As the enticing aroma of the curry filled the air, Cornelia couldn't help but be drawn to the source of the fragrance. Hirayama, in the midst of preparing a wild boar katsu curry, served Cornelia a plate full of the delightful dish. As Cornelia tasted the curry and rice, she praised its deliciousness, expressing surprise at discovering that Hirayama, a Japanese resident, could masterfully create such a delectable curry. The sudden shift in Cornelia's demeanor left Hirayama pondering the reasons behind this change. Intrigued, he asked Cornelia if she had been introduced to curry by someone from another world like him. Cornelia confirmed this, revealing that ever since that experience, curry had become her favorite food. She even declared her willingness to fight the world for a bowl of curry. Observing this exchange, Sonia, who had been silently eating, consumed all the leftover carrots from her plate, noting that Cornelia didn't seem to fancy vegetables. The camaraderie continued to grow as Cornelia and Sonia, despite their differences, became friends. As they enjoyed their dinner, Cornelia bid goodbye, promising to return for more curry. She pointed towards the mountains, indicating the location of her house, a building that Hirayama had never noticed before. Cornelia explained that, being a demon lord, it was only natural for her to reside in a magnificent house. Later that night, as the group settled, the unexpected encounter with Cornelia-sama left them reflecting on the mysteries of their new acquaintance. The next morning brought a jarring reality as Sonia delivered unfortunate news to Hirayama. Demons were raiding their crops, posing a threat to the farm's yield. Armed with his weapon, Hirayama headed to the farm, ready to confront the challenge. This responsibility fell on him in the absence of the pocket-sized rabbits, who normally guard the fields from the intrusion of demons and beasts. But when they are away on a hunting expedition, Hirayama is the one to take care of it. But this time these were not just small demons. The fields are attacked many huge Cyclops, who are busy in picking the crops. These Cyclops are ordered to do so by a beautiful girl, Ouroboros, the Owaid of Demon Lord Cornelia-sama. As Cornelia's true form is Dark Devil Dragon, her underling is also in Reptilian, and Ouroboros is a snake demon. Hirayama confronted Ouroboros, seeking an explanation for the sudden raid on his fields. Ouroboros, claiming it was due to taxation, highlighted the exceptional quality of the carrots, valued by even the pocket-sized rabbits as equivalent to gold dust if sold to the nobles of the demon world. Hirayama, questioning her authority to levy taxes, received a blunt response that this land belonged to demon lord Cornelia-sama. Ouroboros accused Hirayama of hunting monsters and cultivating crops without acknowledging the demon lord, justifying the confiscation of all resources, including the money in his cabin. Attempting to reason with Ouroboros, Hirayama mentioned Cornelia-sama's recent visit and her promise to return. However, Ouroboros dismissed it as absurd lie, doubting the demon lord would have interest in a mere human, except for the one skilled in making curry. Despite admiring Hirayama's boldness, Ouroboros, bound by her role as an assistant, remained determined to ensure he faced consequences. Ordering her Cyclops to seize everything from the fields and destroy the house, Ouroboros initiated chaos. Hirayama, attempting to halt the destruction, faced resistance from Sonia, who warned of potential consequences if their prized carrots were harmed. Unfazed, Ouroboros perceived Sonia's defiance as eagerness for a confrontation. The tension escalated until the unexpected arrival of Cornelia-sama, expressing her interest in the curry. Hirayama explained Ouroboros' claim of taxation, leading to Cornelia's anger at her underlings. Ouroboros, questioned by Cornelia, informed her of the supposed investigation into the mysterious farm, intending to teach Hirayama a lesson for his perceived selfish behavior in Cornelia-sama's garden. Cornelia, surprised at the lack of awareness, reminded Ouroboros of a letter declaring Hirayama as an ally deserving utmost respect. Apologies ensued, with Cornelia reprimanding Ouroboros for her oversight. Maria, shocked by the demon lord's humility, witnessed Cornelia bowing an apology. Hirayama, gracious in accepting the apologies, assured Cornelia that he harbored no ill feelings. Concerned for her allies' well-being, Cornelia summoned Ouroboros' staff, the evil dragon's rod. Ouroboros, shocked at the staff's significance, questioned Cornelia about its importance. Cornelia revealed that Hirayama's culinary prowess in crafting katsu curry made him valuable, declaring him a part of her. Planting the staff into the field, Cornelia invoked the Dragon Emperor's blessing, a magical circle illuminating the land. Maria explained that this blessing manifested the Dragon Emperor's favor, a power Cornelia had but she has never directly employed on the land before. Maria continued explaining to Hirayama that dragons accumulate treasure, and anyone desiring it must slay the dragon to reach it. The blessing marked the hut and its surroundings as Cornelia's dragon treasure house, designating Hirayama himself as her treasure. As long as he stayed within the boundaries, an absolute barrier would protect against any demons. Cornelia-sama affirmed this, clarifying that it was more of a marking than a blessing, a sign that her treasure resided here. The remnants of her magic would instill fear in demonic beasts, preventing them from approaching. The ward, Maria whispered to Hirayama, meant no more trouble within its range, a relief for him. Summarizing, Cornelia explained that the ward wouldn't affect humans, except for high-ranking sorcerers. Grateful for the help, Hirayama thanked her. Maria subtly warned him that Cornelia wasn't straightforward. Giving away a ward meant she had already parted with one of her treasures. The revelation shocked Hirayama, but Cornelia assured him that he was her closest ally, willing to spare no expense and use it as a means of disciplining her underlings. Cornelia turned her attention to Ouroboros, who was willing to accept any punishment. However, Cornelia believed in the importance of closure, deciding to appoint Ouroboros as a maid in Hirayama's house as part of her punishment. After the decisions were made, Cornelia asked for her morning curry, and Hirayama agreed, expressing his intention to make something special as thanks for the Dragon Emperor's blessing. Cornelia, not one to linger, decided to leave without waiting for another serving of curry. In the storage room, Ouroboros, now working as a maid, received a new dress from a Cyclops sent by Cornelia. Hirayama, deciding to grow some Chinese cabbage and clean onions for the curry pot, was surprised when Ouroboros referred to him as her master. She asked for his thoughts on her new clothes. Hirayama, taken aback by the title of master, suggested she didn't have to do anything she didn't want to. Ouroboros insisted, expressing her willingness to serve him, citing her past experience taking care of Cornelia's personal needs. She saw this as a chance for a second life and pleaded with Hirayama to allow her to stay. Additionally, Ouroboros revealed that despite her usual appearance, she lacked practical experience, leaving Hirayama puzzled about the kind of experience she was referring to. She informed Hirayama that, as her master now, they would be sharing the bedroom from that point forward. Hirayama, taken aback, asked if Cornelia had given her such an order. Ouroboros clarified that it was entirely her own decision, motivated by her recognition of Hirayama as a man highly valued by Cornelia-sama, considering him worthy of her devotion as her second lord. This revelation left Hirayama in shock, finding the sudden turn of events overwhelming. Ouroboros asked if he had any objections, to which Hirayama replied that it wasn't the case, and just like that, they had a new resident in the cabin. Later in the night, Hirayama indulges in a hot bath, relishing the experience in his wooden DIY tub. The atmosphere feels reminiscent of an old lady's countryside home, akin to taking a gomen bath in a small traditional Japanese tub. Boiling the water becomes a challenging task, requiring industry-sized pots ordered through the offering box and multiple rounds of boiling. However, the effort invested is deemed worthwhile. Previously, Hirayama used to clean himself in the river, but the repetitive use of river water left him unsatisfied. Now with the luxury of a hot bath, he appreciates the soothing effect on his tired body. Contrary to the weariness from farm work, his fatigue is attributed to the presence of the three girls. Even his special skill, the Emperor of the Night, is rendered ineffective due to the relentless assaults he endures. To add to the complexity, the special guest, Fox Ears, also joins them on a weekly basis. Despite the inconveniences, Hirayama found himself not disliking the situation at all. He observed the two moons in the sky, realizing there was not only the familiar red moon but also the regular one. Reflecting on his journey here, from initially surviving on snakes to the unexpected arrival of the girls and eventually the demon lord, he acknowledged that his life was gradually falling into place. Food was no longer a concern, thanks to the contributions of Alice, and the offering box ensured a steady supply of seasoning. More importantly, he found the people around him endearing, and as he finished his bath, he decided to surprise Sonia with a gift. Presenting her with various bathing supplies, including shampoo, conditioner, and body soap, he introduced these foreign items to a world where people typically use water or soap to towel in hot water for washing. Sonia, enchanted by the effects of the products on her hair, thanked Hirayama with genuine joy. Noticing Maria's interest, he extended the gift to her as well. Unfamiliar with how to use them, Maria applied a generous amount of body soap, enjoying its pleasant smell. Hirayama complimented her appearance after the bath, and soon, Ouroboros also expressed a desire to try the treatment products. Despite her unfamiliarity, she enthusiastically splashed soap on her face and ended up enjoying the experience. Hirayama complimented her, and he couldn't help but appreciate the beauty of the women gathered around him. As night fell, the cabin was filled with the sweet scent of their shampoo, creating a warm and pleasant atmosphere. Later, Hirayama discovers that Elisa's mother is sick and needed money for her medical treatment, explaining the past deception. Despite the initial shock, he acknowledges that she is a nice person. Son Sonia showcases a tower of carrots, expressing the pocket rabbits and their queen's desire to create a carrot tower. While Hirayama believes the quantity is excessive for their consumption, he suggests selling some. However, Sonia is reluctant to part with their carrots. Hirayama employs persuasion, emphasizing Ouroboros' insight about premium prices in the demon world and the drawbacks of the offering box. To secure a stable income, he promises Sonia a white stew with plenty of carrots. She eventually succumbs, agreeing to sell. Hirayama asks Ouroboros to use Carolina's connections to sell the carrots in the demon world. Ouroboros suggests heading to Carolina's castle, and as she is occupied, Maria accompanies Hirayama. With Ouroboros managing household chores, Maria becomes more efficient, while Sonia remains a neat. Ouroboros warns Hirayama about trade restrictions in the demon world, highlighting potential losses due to border tariffs. Hirayama, considering it a ripoff, contemplates the challenges ahead. The fox girl interrupts, proposing to unlock the carrots in the human town temporarily. When asked if she has anything to sell, she expresses interest in the venture. Hirayama queries if the carrots can be sold at a higher price. Elisa, not an expert, leans towards a positive response. Hirayama, discovering his seeds creation skills' customization abilities, contemplates adjusting the sweetness, fiber content, and texture of the produce. Elisa explains that carrot prices hinge on ingredient quality and negotiations with the nobles. Excited about the potential, Hirayama asks if Elisa would handle the sale of all vegetables for them. However, Elisa dismisses the idea, asserting that materials like bones, hides, and fans are challenging to transport. She suggests hiring high-ranking adventurers as escorts, emphasizing that this solution isn't foolproof. The group finds this solution convincing, especially coming from the one who once duped them. Now their concern shifts to dealing with the middleman in the demon world's market and avoiding miscellaneous expenses in the human world, adding layers of complexity to their entrepreneurial endeavors. Maria proposes an alternative, selling the vegetables to the elven tribes, and Alcia agrees. The 11 tribes, being vegetarians, would gladly purchase their vegetables, even at high prices, given their substantial wealth from selling magical devices to humans. Ouroboros informs them that elves are isolationists, living exclusively with other elves. They identify themselves as the wise men of the tribe, avoiding unnecessary dealings with both humans and demons. She wonders if any tribe will openly trade with them, considering their group comprises only ignorant rabbits and nobles from the demon world. The foxgirl volunteers to negotiate, claiming to be the only one with common sense, thereby injecting a new layer of responsibility onto her shoulders. Hirayama agrees, acknowledging his lack of knowledge about this world and entrusting the negotiation to her, demonstrating a pragmatic approach to leadership. The following day, the group sets out to sell the vegetables, leaving Ouroboros alone to take care of their home. Along the way, the pocket habits spot a wild boar and suggest hunting it. However, Sonia declares a break from hunting for the day, giving them a chance to relax and recharge before the upcoming negotiations. Upon reaching their destination, resembling more of a forest than a village, an elf warns them that the pocket rabbits are perceived as a threat, causing the elves to hide their carrots out of fear. This unexpected reception adds an element of tension to their visit, making them question the ease with which they can conduct their business. Hirayama questions Sonia about their actions toward the elves, seeking to understand the roots of the perceived animosity. She explains the chibigang of the forest, shedding light on the cultural nuances that govern the elves' interactions with outsiders. The elves highly value the delicious elven carrots, considering them essential for their coming-of-age ceremony. A group of elves, ready to attack and defend their prized carrots, confronts them, further underscoring the importance of the vegetables in elven society. Despite the initial impression of the soft and friendly rabbits, Hirayama forgets their nickname, Slaughter Gluttons. This moment of forgetfulness adds a touch of humor to the situation, highlighting the challenges of cultural differences. The elves initiate a ritualistic attack using magic and arrows. Hirayama, baffled by the unexpected assault, feels his body moving seemingly on its own. Despite this, he efficiently counters the elves' attacks with his farming equipment technique. The pocket rabbits and Maria join forces to block the incoming arrows, showcasing the unity and cooperation within their group. The primary concern becomes the magic ritual cloud cast by the elves. Using his farming tool, Hirayama disperses the magical cloud, demonstrating his resourcefulness in the face of unexpected challenges. This act not only resolves the immediate issue, but also establishes Hirayama as a problem solver, earning the respect of those around him. The girls express their joy with smiles, and even the elves exhibit surprise at witnessing the 18th high-ranking ritual magic being thwarted by a simple weapon. The pocket rabbits, ellipses, celebrate and cheer for Hirayama, but he humbly attributes their success to the group's collective effort. Suddenly, they spot a beautiful young lady holding a large wooden bow, the elf woman. The pocket rabbits, alarmed, seek Sonia's permission to flee, which she grants with a smile. However, it turns out to be a permission to fight, much to the dismay of the small rabbits. Hirayama, with a mixture of curiosity and concern, posed his question to the pocket rabbits about their evident reluctance. Sonia, with a hesitant tone, revealed that the elf woman, though not as intimidating as the formidable Cornelia, was another fervent carrot enthusiast. As a vegetarian, her love for vegetables was profound, and in the past, during times of scarcity away from her home, she had led an army to audaciously steal carrots from their den. This startling revelation ignited a fire of indignation among the pocket rabbits, setting the stage for a potential conflict. Both parties, despite their stark differences, shared a common weakness for vegetables. Maria, however, was quick to clarify. While it was true for Sonia and her rabbit, she pointed out that the elf woman was not devoid of intelligence or strategic thinking. The conflict at its core revolved around the crucial issue of food preservation, a matter directly linked to the survival of their respective families. Confronted with the need to mobilize their military forces as a last resort, the elf woman, a figure of authority and power, found herself facing the Rabbit Queen, a noble from the demon world, and the enigmatic Hirayama, a man armed not with weapons of war but with simple farm tools. As Hirayama stood there, an aura of power emanating from him, the elf woman, with a strategist's eye, quickly acknowledged the formidable force before her. She realized that there was little chance of victory against such an adversary, yet her warrior's dignity compelled her to insist on a one-on-one combat. Hariyama, in his characteristic calm demeanor, asserted his identity as a mere farmer. He emphasized their intention to engage in a peaceful dialogue, earnestly hoping to prevent any unnecessary violence. Despite his efforts, the elf woman, driven by her sense of duty and honor, initiated an attack. She skillfully launched 4 arrows, targeting his head, torso, and leg in a strategic assault. However, Hariyama, with a display of agility and strength that belied his farmer's guise, effortlessly intercepted and broke the arrows. He concluded the confrontation with a swift jump attack, a move that spoke volumes of his hidden prowess. The elf woman, undeterred, countered with her green holy flare, a ritual magic circle for defense, known for its strength that even a demon king would struggle to escape. This move caught the onlookers by surprise, as it showcased her mastery in magical arts. To everyone's astonishment, Hariyama activated his farm work level 10 skill. A surge of immense power coursed through him, enabling him to escape the magic ritual circle with ease. The elf woman, graceful even in defeat, acknowledged her loss. In a move characteristic of her warrior ethos, she challenged Hariyama to end her life. Hariyama, however, surprised her with a response that was neither aggressive nor hostile. He expressed his intention to deepen their friendship instead of engaging in further conflict. This unexpected gesture of goodwill left the elf woman skeptical, her mind clouded by the notion that an enemy's sweet talk was nothing but a ruse. Remaining true to his diplomatic nature, Hariyama suggested a path towards friendship. He proposed that they could become friends if she would try his carrots, a gesture that symbolized his peaceful intentions. However, the elf woman, still entrenched in her misunderstanding, remained skeptical of his offer. In the elf village, a grand and spectacular feast was unfolding, marking a joyous and vibrant celebration of unprecedented scale. The air was filled with the delightful aromas of exotic dishes, and the elf women, adorned in their finest attire, expressed their surprise and wonder. They conversed animatedly, noting that if only they had known of Hariyama's intention to sell his bountiful and diverse array of vegetables earlier, they could have potentially circumvented the unfortunate and somewhat regrettable skirmish that had recently transpired. Amidst the laughter and merriment, Hariyama, with a tone of earnestness yet tinged with a hint of regret, explained that he had indeed attempted to communicate his purpose earlier. However, his intentions were misunderstood, and he was met with nothing but immediate and somewhat aggressive opposition, much to his dismay. Despite this rocky and tumultuous start, the elf women soon revealed their deep appreciation and fondness for the wide array of vegetables that Hariyama had brought. Being strict vegetarians, they relished the opportunity to indulge in such a diverse and tantalizing variety of vegetables. Their enjoyment was evident even amidst the revelry and the flowing alcohol that added to the celebratory atmosphere. The Queen of the Elves, initially standoffish and somewhat reserved in her demeanor, had her attitude soften remarkably when she finally had the chance to taste Hariyama's carrots. These were no ordinary carrots, they were exceptional in their flavor and texture, a true testament to Hariyama's unmatched farming skills. Traditionally, the elves were more accustomed to exporting armors and art crafts, their expertise lying in these areas rather than in the art of farming. Intrigued and impressed, the queen inquired about Hariyama's unique and evidently successful farming methods. Hariyama, with a playful and mysterious smile, claimed it was a trade secret. Maria, who had been observing the interactions with a keen eye, noted the uniqueness of Hariyama's farming skills. She wisely advised him against revealing too much too soon, suggesting that some things are better kept as intriguing mysteries, at least for the time being. Seizing the moment and the opportunity to further impress the queen, Hariyama presented her with a soft, white, and slippery dish. This dish was unlike anything the elves had ever seen or tasted. Initially, the queen was hesitant, her eyes reflecting a mix of curiosity and caution. But when Hariyama personally fed her, claiming that the dish had the remarkable property of enhancing sensitivity by a factor of 1,000, she relented and allowed herself to experience this new culinary delight. Pleased and visibly impressed with the delicacy, which Hariyama revealed was called mayonnaise, the queen learned with great interest. Hariyama, sensing the opportunity to foster a stronger relationship, promised to bring more of this delightful mayonnaise on his next visit. The queen, impressed by the quality of the carrots and the mayonnaise, remarked that no matter how much they indulged in these new foods, the satisfaction they brought never seemed to wane, always leaving them wanting more. As the day gracefully transitioned into night, and their business and discussions concluded, the queen suggested that it might be time for them to go. However, before they could depart, the elf queen, with a hint of curiosity and perhaps a touch of mischief in her voice, inquired about Hirayama's prowess in bed. This bold question stemmed from whispers she had heard from the other three girls, causing a stir and a buzz of whispers among the elf women. Soon, a crowd of elf girls, their faces flushed with excitement and perhaps a touch of the alcohol they had been indulging in, gathered around Hirayama. This sudden attention prompted him to question, half in jest and half in genuine concern, if they had perhaps planned an attack while under the influence of their inebriated state. The elf girls clarified their intentions, revealing that there were no men in their village. They relied on seeds obtained from other species for reproduction, a fact that piqued Hirayama's interest. They expressed their long-standing search for seeds from a strong and capable man, and the elf queen, with a mixture of boldness and charm, invited Hirayama to stay with them for the night. However, Hirayama, diplomatic and thoughtful in his response, declined their offer. He suggested that perhaps they should take the time to deepen their bonds first before taking such a significant step. The elf queen countered his argument, highlighting the presence of 10 beautiful elves, a temptation that would have swayed many men. But Hirayama clarified that it was not a matter of preference, but rather a decision guided by his principles and the experiences of the day. Reflecting on the day's events, Hirayama thought back to the challenging encounter with the elves. Despite his Emperor of Night skill, he had faced difficulties that he had not anticipated. This reflection led him to decide to return to his place, a decision that was both pragmatic and in line with his character. Later that night, back at his dwelling, Hirayama found himself enjoying a hot and soothing bath. The warmth of the water and the quiet of the night provided him with a moment of contemplation. He mused that he was indeed living his best life, surrounded by an abundance of food and the company of many beautiful women. This thought brought a sense of contentment and satisfaction to his mind. To his surprise and perhaps delight, Sonia, Maria, Ouroboros, Elisa, and even the elf queen decided to join him in the bath. The wooden tub, originally meant for one, quickly became crowded, and amidst the warmth of the water and the camaraderie of the moment, Hirayama's screams, whether of surprise or something else, blended into the darkness of the night, leaving much to the imagination. The next morning, Hirayama found himself discussing the aftermath of the broken bath and the pressing need for a new house with Ouroboros. Recognizing the challenges of building in their remote location, Elisa, the fox girl, offered her assistance. She was keenly aware of the need for high-ranking adventurers and mentioned the considerable cost of craftsmen and materials, estimating it at a staggering 4,000 gold coins. The elf queen, ever resourceful, proposed enlisting some of her young elves to assist in the building process, with wages that were negotiable and fair. However, Elisa, with her practical mind, pointed out that elven building techniques were heavily reliant on trees and might not be suitable for Hirayama's needs. Hirayama himself expressed his discomfort with the fantasy-like feel of the elven village for long-term living, preferring something more in line with his own tastes and sensibilities. The elf queen, understanding his concerns, then suggested seeking help from another staple of the fantasy world, the dwarves. Known for their exceptional craftsmanship and sturdy building techniques, they seemed like an ideal choice for Hirayama's needs. The following day, leaving Maria in charge of the house, they embarked on a journey to the nearby dwarves' village. Upon their arrival, the elf queen took the lead, appealing to the dwarven chieftain for assistance in their building endeavor. However, the chieftain explained that the village's current focus was heavily tilted towards weapon and armor production, a necessity due to an impending war in neighboring countries. This situation left little room for other projects, much to their disappointment. Recalling the chieftain's carpenter granddaughter, the elf queen requested her assistance, seeing in her the potential to aid them in their building project. The chieftain initially refused, citing her youth and lack of full maturity as reasons for his hesitation. Yet the granddaughter herself, with a spirit of independence and determination, sought permission to join them, eager to prove her skills in carpentry were full-fledged despite her young age. Ouroboros, ever the voice of reason, asserted that her skills in carpentry were indeed noteworthy and that her age should not be a barrier to her participation in their project. In the dimly lit depths of the mine, the young girl named Ketia approached her grandfather with a hopeful plea. She asked if she could accompany the others on their quest, her eyes filled with curiosity and a burning desire to prove herself. However, her grandfather, a wise elder of the village, gently informed her that she was still considered a half-grown, not yet fully prepared for the challenges that lay ahead. Meanwhile, the elf women, led by their determined queen, approached the chieftain with a request. They explained that this journey would take a week of their time, and their wages would be affected as a result. But the chieftain, stern and unwavering, upheld the village's law, stating that half-grounds were still in their training phase. Intrigued by Kachia's expertise in her craft, the elf queen inquired why she had not ventured into the mines before. The chief revealed that due to the ongoing war in neighboring countries, they couldn't spare an escort for her. In the treacherous waste dungeon, an escort's protection was crucial as they scoured the vast dungeon for the special ore they sought. After some consideration, the chieftain reluctantly agreed to send Kachia along with the group to mine the cave. Surprisingly, small pocket rabbits led the way, a sight that left Kachia astonished and perplexed. Nonetheless, Kachia clarified their mission, to locate an Adamantite monster. Hirayama questioned whether they planned to slay the creature and extract its ore, but Kachia explained that they didn't mine for these special ores. They were bestowed upon them. However, such ores were rare and not easily found in conventional mines. Irama wondered why they would give away their precious ore for free. Kachia disclosed the unique contract they had with the Adamantite monster, which involved trading the ore for her metal sword. This was a tradition handed down through the ages due to the creature's penchant for consuming metals. As evening fell, the group paused for dinner. Kachia was captivated by the tantalizing aroma of the food, but she admitted she had never tasted curry before. Kiriyama had prepared retort curry with white rice, and Kachia relished every bite of this exotic dish, grateful for the new culinary experience. Later, as they prepared to sleep, Kachia appeared restless, unable to find peace in slumber. She inquired about the nightly routines of the group, prompting a somewhat embarrassed response from Hirayama. He explained that their customs included certain practices before bedtime and upon waking up. Kachia confided that she too was interested in such matters but lamented that in the dwarf village she had no one her age to share such experiences with. Her curiosity stemmed from a lack of a partner to share a kiss with, and she admitted to feeling nervous the previous night, which had kept her awake. Hirayama was taken aback by her revelation, struggling to comprehend her words. Kachia clarified that dwarves had a keen sense of whether a man was strong enough to be entrusted with one of their weapons, and her interest was sparked by her inability to find a suitable partner. However, as Hirayama continued to express confusion, Kachia grew frustrated and retreated to her slumber. As the group ventured deeper into the mine, they encountered a menacing demon. However, to Kachia's amazement, Sonia and her daughters swiftly dispatched the creature. She couldn't help but admire their formidable abilities. Their journey continued, and they stumbled upon a wild boar. The pocket rabbits and their queen became exhilarated and gave chase. Hirayama attempted to restrain them, but their wild nature prevailed. As they drew closer to their destination, they encountered a massive cluster of crystals clinging to the cavern walls. To Kachia's surprise, the crystals came to life and identified themselves as the King Adamantite. She proudly proclaimed her lineage as the granddaughter of the dwarf chieftain. The Adamantite king, in accordance with an ancient contract, expressed its willingness to exchange adamantite for her sword. However, it regretfully disclosed that its adamantite had already been taken, rendering it unable to fulfill the exchange. Kachia pressed for information about who had taken the ore, and the king revealed it was the work of humans in the deepest part of the cave, engaged in alchemical studies. Hirayama suggested reclaiming the stolen ore by force, but the king cautioned them to be vigilant, as there were heroes from another world escorting the humans. The king identified itself as Miyamoto, and the group pressed on towards the cave's deepest reaches. In the depths of the cave, they encountered enslaved individuals toiling away in the mines, their lives hanging by a thread. Among them, they found Miyamoto sitting with another woman in a camp. Miyamoto recognized Hirayama and asks if he is still alive. Hirayama listened as Miyamoto recounted his experiences with the training in the imperial capital. To his surprise, Miyamoto described it as an awful ordeal where some individuals were coerced into gruesome activities. It seemed like a chaotic environment, and Miyamoto admitted that he had become somewhat stronger during this time. However, he quickly realized that he despised the strenuous effort required, which led him to abandon the path of becoming a brave warrior. Instead, he chose a different path and had now attained the status of a B-rank adventurer, granting him the freedom and power he desired. Hirayama couldn't help but feel that he had sensed something amiss about Miyamoto from the beginning. As Miyamoto continued to boast about his adventures, he revealed that he had ventured into the town but faced a problem. No legitimate adventurers guild would hire a fugitive hero like himself. It was then that he stumbled upon information about the Hidden Guild, which in simpler terms, operated as a criminal organization. This shady guild had hired him due to his particular set of skills, which involved escorting them to mine a special ore. Hirayama was appalled, openly calling them a bunch of criminals. However, Miyamoto's actions soon proved the grim nature of this hidden guild. He callously kicked a defenseless slave in the stomach, shocking Hirayama to the core. Miyamoto callously remarked that in this world, money and power equated to justice. The slave's crest marked them as a symbol of their enslavement, and Miyamoto confidently asserted that no matter what transpired, this slave would not dare oppose him. He even playfully toyed with the idea of killing the slave, a remark that he needed more money to buy new ones, leaving Hirayama convinced that Miyamoto was far from being a human in the truest sense. Miyamoto shifted his attention to the beautiful lady who stood gracefully behind Hirayama. With curiosity in his voice, he inquired about her identity. Ouroboros introduced herself, explaining that she took care of the master's personal needs. Miyamoto couldn't help but express his thoughts, claiming that he didn't fully understand what she had to endure, but asserting that one thing was certain: Hirayama didn't seem like a good man to him. He went on to comment on Hirayama's appearance, likening him to an old man and criticizing his farming skill as rubbish. In a peculiar attempt to befriend Ouroboros, Miyamoto suggested that if he were in her place, he would choose the strongest companion and invite her for a cup of coffee in their tent as a token of friendship. However, Ouroboros had an entirely different opinion of Miyamoto and expressed her desire to kill him. Hirayama intervened, urging her to refrain from such violence and reminding her that killing was wrong. Miyamoto persisted and forcibly grabbed Ouroboros' hand, confidently proclaiming that he was undoubtedly a better man than Hirayama. Meanwhile, Sonia returned with a freshly hunted wild boar and requested the use of the item box to store their impressive catch. As Miyamoto observed the rabbit queen, he marveled at her beauty and introduced himself as a hero to Sonia. In a rather bold move, he expressed his desire for her to be his woman, promising that money and honor would be at her disposal. Sonia's response was swift and harsh. She delivered a powerful kick, declaring Miyamoto to be creepy and kicking dirt onto her own feet in the process. She expressed her need to wash her feet thoroughly after dealing with such an unpleasant encounter. Following Sonia's reaction, Ouroboros took it upon herself to teach Miyamoto a lesson. She pushed his head against the wall, questioning his claim of being the strongest hero when he was on the verge of fainting from a single kick. She boldly declared that she could end him in just 5 seconds, showing no mercy. She continued to taunt him, asking if he had settled his affairs and written his will, all while repeatedly knocking his head against the wall. Ouroboros expressed her indifference to his pleas for mercy. In a fit of rage, Ouroboros proposed tying him up with a rope. Hirayama suggested a more lawful approach, proposing to take him to Elsa and hand him over to the city guard, considering Miyamoto's desertion from sword training as a potential felony. As Miyamoto attempted to crawl away, he inadvertently broke one of the carrots, attempting to con the rabbits by claiming he had stepped on landmine. However, Sonia remained resolute, determined to thoroughly settle the matter and bring it to a decisive conclusion. Sonia and her girls completed their task, utterly dismantling Miyamoto. Then, the pocket-sized rabbits unleashed their magical fireballs to set him on fire. 20 minutes later, there was nothing left but a mound of ashes. Hirayama couldn't resist poking fun at the situation, likening the once popular hero to the life force of a cockroach. Later on, Keiichi stumbled upon the coveted Adamantite stones. They collected the precious ore and returned to Hirayama's place, where they embarked on building a new house. Keiichi and the elf girls worked diligently, impressively progressing with the construction. The house was shaping up nicely, and it wouldn't be long before it was ready. Maria, Sonia, and Ouroboros were thrilled at the prospect of having their own rooms, bidding farewell to the old shack. A proper kitchen was in the works, allowing them to prepare a wider variety of meals. They were even building a butchering shed and a well for drinking water. And of course, there would be a bathroom spacious enough for everyone. The shrine would also be transformed into a magnificent structure, as they had received a divine promise of a significant discount on their next order if they did so. It was a massive project that would take time, but Keiichi was swiftly working on a private room for them to live in. Sonia requested that Keiichi construct a sturdy bunk bed for the bedroom where they could all sleep together. However, Hirayama suggested that they were building private rooms so they wouldn't have to sleep together. This disappointed the girls. For dinner, everyone was tired and hungry, and Hirayama decided to prepare a dish that would satisfy them all: chanko nave soup. With ingredients like garlic, carrots, chives, and wild boar, the soup was a hit. Hirayama even mused that if he had opened a restaurant in Japan serving this, it would surely be a success. He had never tasted a better hot pot. Maid tasted best when you cooked a variety of ingredients together, creating a synergistic effect. The soup disappeared quickly, prompting Hirayama to whip up a rice and carrot porridge that everyone also loved. Ouroboros requested permission to clean up, and Hirayama was surprised when he saw Cornelia. He mentioned that he had almost missed seeing her twice. Cornelia asked if she wasn't allowed to visit her allies, and Hirayama clarified that it wasn't the case. It was just that she, being a demon lord, blended in so well with them. With the exception of the demon lord, their family meal ended with a bang that day. Meanwhile, Keiichia, who had been sleeping in the next room, found it difficult to sleep with all the activity happening in the adjacent room. The following morning, Keiichia surprised Hirayama with a bowl of rice balls known as onigiri. Initially shocked, he tasted the onigiri and found that he actually liked them. Keiichia had done a great job, even balancing the salt just right. Keiichia then brought up the topic from the previous night when she had slept near his room. She reminded him of her interest, but Hirayama was determined not to get involved with someone her age. The construction of the house was progressing rapidly, and the girls were having a party in the living area with plenty of alcohol. Hirayama, thinking that they would likely be sleeping soundly until morning, looked forward to finally enjoying a night's sleep he had missed for a while. However, when he lifted the sheets of his bed, he was surprised to find Keiichia lying there. Hirayama politely refused her advances and asked her to return to her room. Keiichia began to cry and expressed her own desires, emphasizing that she was also a girl and interested in such matters. Hirayama tried to console her, explaining that she was too young for this. Keiichia was persistent, asserting that she could adjust her body, making it bigger or smaller using magic. She clarified that among dwarves, women weren't naturally strong, so they used magic to gain strength, citing it as a practical example. However, Hirayama clarified that it wasn't about her appearance but her age. If she was under 18, it was not permissible. Keiichia then dropped a surprising bombshell, stating that her age was actually 112 years, leaving Hirayama in shock. Despite his initial surprise, Hirayama didn't mind the age difference. After all that had transpired that night, and with a newfound understanding, Keiichia started calling him Oni-chan, signifying a closer bond between them. Keiichia had constructed a truly magnificent and remarkably spacious bedroom, one that Hirayama couldn't help but adore and appreciate. As a gesture of his appreciation, he lovingly patted Keiichia on the head. This simple act of affection brought joy to Keiichia's heart, and she didn't mind it in the slightest. In fact, she relished being petted by her Oni-chan. With the completion of these private rooms, they were now embarking on a full-scale renovation project. Every individual now had their very own sanctuary, complete with a spacious indoor bath, a cozy living room, and a well-equipped kitchen. Beyond the realms of their house, they had a range of auxiliary facilities at their disposal, including a practical butchering shed, a functional farming shed, a dedicated sake brewery, and a pair of versatile multipurpose sheds. A key aspect of their current endeavors was the need to create a waterway that would connect them to the nearby river, ensuring a reliable and ample water supply for various purposes. Keiichia astutely pointed out that she had already taken the initiative to purchase a considerable quantity of metal materials. This strategic move was driven by her desire to eliminate the inconveniences associated with frequent trips to the dwarf village for supplies, particularly given the long-term nature of their project. What's more, the unexpected news that Keiichia would be joining them in their endeavor took Hirayama by surprise. In response to Keiichia's imminent arrival, Keiichia expressed her fondness for Hirayama and her enthusiasm to commence the construction of the furnace without delay. With this development, the number of cute companions in Hirayama's circle grew once again. Sonia, Maria, Ouroboros, and now Keiichia comprised their close-knit group. Though the elven workers who had been assisting them were likely to depart once their work was concluded, they intended to stay a while longer to assist with other tasks. Hirayama couldn't deny that the prospect of having so many people around challenged the limits of his endurance, but he couldn't deny that he was thoroughly enjoying the camaraderie and the bustling activity that had enveloped their place. Observing Maria in her work attire, Hirayama couldn't help but be captivated by her striking beauty. Her presence amidst the sweat and toil of the construction site was reminiscent of an architectural inspector sent from the head office, meticulously evaluating every aspect of their project. As their construction projects continued to unfold, the vineyard was expanding, and their dreams of producing a substantial amount of alcohol were taking shape. However, the expenses associated with renovations and catering for their growing group were beginning to accumulate and pose financial challenges. The bills for their banquets, in particular, were steadily growing in size and magnitude. In the past, they had sourced their sake from the elven and dwarf villages, but when it came to hosting parties and celebrations, they had developed a strong preference for the earth's sake. A particular favorite among them was the canned chuhal, even though it came at a price of approximately 5,000 gold coins for a mere 500 mul. With ambitious plans to produce both wine and sake, they decided to expand their rice paddies, recognizing the pivotal role that rice played in sake production. While they had been cultivating rice for a while, it was only through the application of improved cultivation techniques and enhanced water management that they were able to transform their rice fields into proper paddy fields, paving the way for increased production. Maria, with her expertise, was confident that they could craft exceptional wine from the grapes they were cultivating. She even proposed the idea of creating a juice wine with a lower alcohol content, catering to the preferences of those like Keiichia who didn't favor strong alcoholic beverages. In addition to wine, Hirayama envisioned producing wine vinegar, knowing it was a beloved condiment among elves and dwarves. This venture held the promise of not only satisfying their own palates, but also generating substantial profits through sales. As they delved into discussions about food and drink pairings, an intriguing question arose. Would curry and wine complement each other harmoniously? Hirayama proposed a tantalizing pairing, suggesting that pork cutlets, enveloped in a savory curry, could be served alongside eggs. This delectable combination would be a delightful accompaniment to sake, and it inspired them to focus on increasing wheat production to meet the demand for bread. Upon his return home, Sonia warmly welcomed Hirayama, expressing her heartfelt gratitude for his tireless efforts on the farm. Yet amidst the warm reception and bustling activity, Hirayama found himself pondering an intriguing question: where had the pocket rabbits disappeared to? Curiosity gnawed at him, for he hadn't seen a single one of these charming creatures all day. Sonia tells him that they are out for hunting. Hirayama is surprised to know that they all have gone. That is very unusual. Sonia approached Hirayama, expressing concern about his financial difficulties. She suggested that if they hunted together, they could earn more money. Touched by her consideration, Hirayama became emotional. Sonia revealed that they had discussed the matter and made a final decision. Hirayama, jokingly, commented that pocket-sized rabbits are great, but Sonia isn't one, as she tends to eat and sleep without doing much else. Sonia, taking offense, asked if he wasn't going to pet her. Hirayama, realizing she might become troublesome if he didn't comply, decided to pet her head, which she enjoyed. Shortly after, Elisa arrived with the tools needed for building the butchering shed. Hirayama expressed his liking for the tools, and Elisa mentioned that she preferred handling non-combat chores as an assistant to the party. She believed that leaving a dangerous situation was the best way to survive. When Hirayama questioned why she fought with them in the elven village instead of leaving, Elisa invited him to spend the day and the next until dusk with her. She suggested they go to town on a date as an apology for the rip-off. Hirayama agreed, and they invited Sonia to accompany them, but she claimed to have work to do. Suspicious, Hirayama thought she might be up to something. In the town market, they visited clothing and farming tool shops. Elisa noticed a rare, expensive berry at a fruit stall and bought it for Hirayama. He liked it, but Elisa felt it wasn't as good as the cherry tomatoes he grew. She suggested he grow more sweet vegetables and fruits, thinking it would be popular among girls. Hirayama wondered why he was so popular among girls, and Elisa explained that it wasn't about being wrong or right, but about his good nature. She cited the rip-off incident, emphasizing that despite the potential consequences, he didn't complain. Elisa praised his ability to make a significant amount of money and declared him the strongest and most talented among humans. Hirayama, perplexed, contemplated his unexpected popularity. Elisa asserted that Hirayama was in a position where he was the center of everything, with everyone else being attracted to him. The heroine inquired about the other's intentions, suspecting that she had been half-forced to take him to the city. Elisa remained tight-lipped, refusing to reveal more. She declared that they would stay at the inn for the night, ensuring that it would be just the two of them. Assuring Hirayama that she would take good care of him, Elisa's determination suggested she wouldn't easily divulge any information. The following day, as they returned home, the living room was empty, and Elisa left with saying that will by the river with the butchery. Puzzled, Hirayama wondered where everyone else was. Keiichia entered, noticing his distressed expression. When he asked about everyone, Keiichia evasively stated that their whereabouts were none of his business. Feeling overwhelmed, Hirayama decided to sleep, hoping to put his thoughts to rest. Upon waking at night, a pocket-sized rabbit guided him to the unfinished brewery. To his surprise, the girls greeted him with a joyful birthday celebration. Maria had informed them about his birthday, which he had completely forgotten. Sonia and Maria had even discussed the calendars in both their worlds to make sure the celebration was on the right date. Touched by their love and efforts, Hirayama apologized for misunderstanding their actions. The Pocket Rabbits had prepared a carrot cake, Ouroboros and Maria had crafted his favorite teriyaki turkey, and the elf girls, along with Katya, had worked diligently on the interior. Sonia revealed they had a present for him, all the girls. Grateful and touched by their thoughtfulness, Hirayama realized they had been planning and working on the celebration since the previous day. Sonia declared they would party until they were very drunk, urging them to enjoy everything before the revelry began. Thus, Hirayama's birthday turned out to be an unexpectedly awesome and heartwarming celebration orchestrated by the caring and affectionate girls around him. Meanwhile, a girl is seen walking in the forest all exhausted. Dressed in safari suits, Maria and Sonia stood before Hirayama, who earnestly requested Maria to take charge, emphasizing that everything was counting on her. However, Maria, with a sense of realism, expressed her inability to guarantee everyone's safe return from the perilous expedition. The origins of this expedition traced back to a letter from Cornelia, whose primary income source was hunting demon beasts and selling them in the demon world. Due to the Pocket Rabbits, the number of high-level demon beasts available for sale at higher prices was decreasing in the region. Cornelia, faced with this challenge, had requested a temporary slowdown in the hunt. The Pocket Rabbits' destructive habits, such as burning through areas and leaving nothing in their wake, made it difficult for them to settle down. Reducing the hunt meant a decline in their income, and considering they lived off the meat they hunted, presented a dilemma. The proposed solution was an expedition to a high-level dungeon known as the Legendary Dungeon, a place notorious for luring adventurers to their demise. Inside this legendary dungeon lay a treasure trove of gold, silver, and valuable artifacts. The plan was to utilize this treasure to compensate for the reduction in their hunting grounds. Despite her reluctance, Maria found herself encouraged by Hirayama, who asserted that they couldn't simply leave everything to the Pocket Rabbits. In a moment of vulnerability, Maria made a pact with Hirayama, expressing that if she returned safely, she wanted him to pamper and love her. With the decision made, the girls embarked on their expedition, leaving behind a sense of anticipation and uncertainty. In addition to their challenges, the group faced the issue of transporting alcohol. While it was not possible to make wine, the elves expressed concerns about pushing a cart all the way to the city while avoiding monsters. On foot, carrying a cartload of alcohol would take a grueling 10 hours. The consideration of using a bull to pull the cart was pondered, even though it seemed like a longer route. Another option was for Hirayama to use his power to transport the wine using the item box, but this would inevitably lead to delays in farm work, raising concerns about efficiency. The dilemma emerged from the impossibility of halting one task without compromising the other. The following day, as Hirayama woke up, the Pocket Rabbits urgently informed him of an intruder. Ouroboros, however, reassured him that it couldn't be a monster because the place was guarded by Cornelia's ward. It must be a human. Taking charge, Hirayama requested Ouroboros to accompany him and sought Katya, assuming she was in charge. In the ensuing investigation, they discovered a girl lying on the floor, almost unconscious. Hirayama was shocked to see her, and he immediately asked his maid to cast a restoration spell. To his surprise, he realized that this was Mayu, the girl who had been reincarnated with him. Despite his less than stellar skills, Mayu had treated him as a normal person. Currently, her life was out of danger, but she was severely exhausted, requiring considerable time to regain consciousness. Concerned for Mayu's well-being, Hirayama asked Ouroboros to take care of her. Intrigued by the scratches and injuries on Mayu, Ouroboros attempted to remove her clothes to assess the wounds. She decided to give her a bath, as there might be hidden wounds behind her clothes. Covered in mud and blood, her clothes needed careful attention. Hirayama expressed his concern, acknowledging that Mayu might feel uncomfortable if a man saw her naked when she was unconscious. Despite her injuries, Ouroboros noticed many cuts on Mayu's body, hinting at a possible confrontation with someone wielding sharp weapons. She expressed a preference for treating the coarse scratches and began licking the wounds, drawn to the scent of blood. However, upon noticing Hirayama watching, she stopped and apologized for her behavior. Puzzled by Mayu's condition, Hirayama wondered about the events that transpired after he left and why she was alone in the forest with numerous cuts. He requested Katya and Ouroboros to take turns looking after her until she woke up. Later, Sonia and Maria returned, sharing their contrasting experiences from the expedition. While Sonia found it enjoyable, Maria was in a distressed state, expressing a reluctance to return to the dungeon. Seeking comfort, Maria turned to Hirayama for solace. The items retrieved from the dungeon held both value and mystery. Sonia, having acquired the sword of the legendary hero, surprised Hirayama. Though abandoned in the depths of the underground, Hirayama was relieved that they returned safely. He decided that in the future, he would send Ouroboros with them for added protection. Hirayama made a generous offering of a bag of gold coins in the offering box, totaling 10,000 gold coins. This indicated the rarity of the items they brought back. However, he faced uncertainty about what to do with other items like crown rings and swords. Exchanging them for cash posed challenges and the high export tax to the demon world made seeking Cornelia's advice a complex decision. Sonia proposed a daring idea to throw all the valuables into the offering box. As she tossed the items into the box, an unexpected occurrence unfolded. The box began to act like a black hole, greedily sucking in everything with an insatiable appetite. The treasures vanished effortlessly, leaving the group astounded. In return, they received a colossal amount of currency. Hirayama couldn't help but ponder the potential repercussions of injecting such a substantial sum into the economy. The result was staggering, with more than 1,000,000 gold coins received in exchange for their various items. Maria expressed joy at the substantial windfall, acknowledging the hard work that had led to such prosperity. Ouroboros, intrigued by Maria's exuberance, questioned her behavior. Maria revealed her desire to know if there was a way to reverse the process and convert the money back into gold coins. With the substantial wealth amassed, she envisioned a comfortable and self-sufficient life in this world. However, the offering god interjected, stating that they couldn't reverse the money. However, Hirayama finds something he could buy. Curiosity piqued. The girls marveled at what Hirayama had ordered from the offering box. To their surprise, it turned out to be a truck. Gleefully, Hirayama proudly announced that it was a product made in Japan, a light truck. He expressed his pleasant surprise at how easy it was to drive. The enigmatic nature of the offering box acquisitions left the girls wondering about the truck's origin. Ouroboros speculated that it might be some kind of artifact from an ancient magical civilization powered by a magic stone. However, Hirayama dispelled the magical origins, explaining that the truck ran on solar energy, harnessing the power of sunlight. He emphasized that despite being in a different world, solar power could still provide sufficient horsepower. The offering box interjected, adding that while solar power was an option, if Hirayama needed more horsepower, he would have to resort to using gasoline. This, however, came with a cost as gasoline was expensive. Unfazed, Hirayama decided to stock up on gas tanks just in case they needed it along the way. The offering box cautioned about the potential dangers of storing gasoline in plastic containers, emphasizing the associated risks and managing breakdowns and potential dangers that might arise during their journey. However, it assured Hirayama that, with its divine power, it could keep him out of harm's way. The offering box generously informed Hirayama that repairs for the truck would be free, an unexpected and benevolent gesture from a deity known for its fixation on money. Hirayama couldn't help but marvel at the generosity, considering the offering box's money-centric nature. After acquiring the truck and gas cans, Hirayama found himself with 21,718 gold coins, feeling the pinch of newfound poverty. Maria humorously likened the transformation of the legendary hero's sword into a light truck. With their new vehicle, they devised a plan to sell alcohol and vegetables in the city. However, the first order of business was teaching everyone how to drive, with Hirayama as the instructor. Sonia was the initial student, finding the experience incredibly enjoyable and expressing awe at the marvel of the iron carriage. Kechia followed suit, displaying adeptness in driving. Curious about the inner workings of the truck, Kechia proposed disassembling it, but Hirayama wisely discouraged such endeavors, emphasizing the challenge of reassembly. Ouroboros, despite her intimidating demeanor, surprisingly hesitated to step on the clutch, expressing concerns about safety. Maria, on the other hand, proved to be the fastest learner, determined to achieve speeds exceeding 70 kilometers per hour. The unexpected arrival of Cornelia brought a new dynamic to their driving lessons. Unfazed by the presence of the light truck, Cornelia revealed her prior exposure to modern technologies, having been to Japan and even ridden on a plane. She had worked in a restaurant run by a reincarnated individual, familiarizing herself with tanks, fighter planes, and the theories of relativity and nuclear weapons. Aware of the magic formula of the gods that shaped the world, Cornelia's nonchalant attitude towards the truck showcased her vast knowledge and experiences. As Hirayama contemplated the possibility of teaching elves to drive to address their transportation challenges, Cornelia diverted the conversation to the more immediate concern of having curry for lunch. On the fringes of the woods, Masashi Miyamoto found himself covered in bandages, a result of his recent struggles. He revealed that he had reincarnated into this world from Japan, where he underwent rigorous hero training. The arduous journey made him strong, but the challenges proved too daunting, prompting him to leave. Subsequently, he joined a criminal guild, engaging in nefarious activities until he encountered a group of formidable girls who handed him a severe beating. Facing a death sentence, he managed to escape and was en route to reunite with comrades who had similarly fled their training. As he observed a light truck approaching, Miyamoto questioned its presence in this fantastical world. Maria, known for her impulsive driving, took an unconventional route, opting for an escalator instead of using the brakes. Miyamoto, relying on his combat training, narrowly avoided a dire outcome. Meanwhile, Hirayama attempted to teach mathematics to Ouroboros, who seemed lost in contemplation, revealing the surprisingly low level of math in this world. Despite Hirayama's intention to delegate accounting tasks, the challenge persisted as even those with prior hero training, like Maria, and elite demons, like Ouroboros, struggled with basic calculations. Amidst this numerical conundrum, Keiichi brought news that Mayu had awakened. The girls eagerly surrounded her, with Hirayama extending a morning greeting and inquiring about her well-being. Mayu, waking up in the midst of the eclectic group, was taken aback by the familiar faces around her. The elite girls, the elven maidens, and even the dwarf child all seemed part of an unlikely gathering. She recalled the tales of strife between the pocket rabbits and the elves, deeming it nearly impossible for such a diverse assembly to coexist, especially with the eccentric dwarf clan in the mix. Despite the apparent tension in the backdrop, Hirayama extended an invitation for dinner, casually asking if she was hungry. Mayu couldn't help but marvel at the warm and peaceful atmosphere, finding it strangely nostalgic. Tentatively, she admitted to craving pork with fried ginger, apologizing for what she perceived as an extravagant request. To her surprise, Hirayama reassured her, suggesting devil boar meat instead. As a result of this unexpected turn, Mayu was taken aback. The mention of a tube of ginger paste, which is a common item found in grocery stores, came as a complete surprise to her. It was a jarring reminder of the farming expertise and resourcefulness that Hirayama would possess. It was impossible for Mayu to believe what she was seeing as she sat down to a steaming bowl of devil boar gingerbread and porridge. With the help of the elderly man's abilities, their surroundings had been transformed into a paradise filled with unexpected pleasures. Mayu found herself captivated by the realization that they had, in fact, served the gingerbread and porridge that she had requested. The aroma of the meal evoked memories, and she found herself captivated by the realization. Hirayama expressed her sincere regret and apologized for the fact that he did not have any cabbage to accompany the meat. She acknowledged that cabbage would have been an ideal complement to the meat. On the other hand, Mayu discovered that she was thoroughly enjoying the food, and she ended up eating the entire bowl. She was so moved by the flavor that she was unable to contain her tears and remarked that the food in this world had never turned out to be this delicious. She was overcome with a sense of melancholy, and she found herself appreciating the flavors that seemed to go beyond the confines of her memories. Although Mayu was experiencing a great deal of remorse for abandoning Hirayama, he reassured her and insisted that there was no reason for her to be concerned about the situation. That Miyamoto, who had not experienced a fate as terrible as hers, had forced her to do something was something that he understood. Hirayama's enormous generosity and the expansive warmth of his heart, which had earned him the admiration of all of the girls, were brought to the attention of Mayu, who expressed his concurrence. With her curiosity still lingering, Hirayama inquired once more about the scratches and wounds that Mayu had on her body. She disclosed that initially she had assumed the role of a wise mage. However, when she entered combat training as a hero, the expectations were high. There were a lot of expectations placed on her. It was a place where harsh punishments, collective responsibility, and a glaring lack of ethics prevailed, and the training facility became a crucible for the worst characteristics of athletic clubs. She was taken aback by the harsh reality of this world, in which surviving frequently meant engaging in some form of low-cost robbery. Mayu acknowledged that she had a fatal flaw, which was that she was unable to wipe out any monster. Some people gave her the impression that she was kind, but others referred to her as a coward. Her courage was brought to a halt by the conflicting feelings she experienced regarding the killing of demons, who might also have loved ones. The escape of Miyamoto and other individuals only served to exacerbate the already stringent conditions that existed at the facility, which resulted in severe punishments and increased scrutiny for each and every failure. It was during a training exercise that they staged an accident, which resulted in her being thrown into an abyss with injuries that were on the verge of being fatal. After being rescued by villagers from a remote village, she discovered comfort in the kindness of the villagers, which was a stark contrast to the brutal days of training for combat. To add insult to injury, the village was taken by bandits, which was a tragic event. It was a valiant effort by Mayu, but one of the bandits proved to be too formidable. She ran away in an attempt to save her life, and as a result, she found herself in this fantastical world. While Mayu was recounting her arduous journey, Keiichi inquired about her plans for the future. This was in light of the fact that the village had been looted, and there was a great deal of uncertainty regarding the survival of the people who lived there. Mayu conveyed her understanding and gratitude, as well as her determination to find a way to assist her village even at this moment. Even though Hirayama made an effort to persuade Mayu to remain for an additional night, she ultimately decided to leave. With the intention of confronting the impending danger posed by bandits, Hirayama made the decision that they would go out the following day. The girls were giddy with excitement as they contemplated the possibility of facing off against challenges. Hirayama successfully convinced Mayu to stay for the night, and now she found herself in the midst of an unexpected culinary adventure. Mayu expressed surprise at the amount of effort that was put into making curry from scratch at the same time that she questioned Hirayama's decision to prepare curry for breakfast. Hirayama, who was feeling emotionally moved, expressed his happiness at finally being able to connect with people who held values the same as his own. Additionally, pork cutlets were included in the breakfast spread, which contributed to the more emotional atmosphere. They were already inside when Elisa and Cornelia arrived to join them for breakfast, and the aroma of curry was already calling to them. Cornelia was intent on devouring her pork cutlet curry when she expressed her desire to not be disturbed. Hirayama speculated that Lady Carolina might visit due to her ability to predict the future, but Cornelia was focused on eating her curry. It was then that Mayu made the discovery that Carolina was a demon lord. Cornelia disclosed that she had experienced instances of collapsing in the past when she was in junior high school. They continued to share anecdotes about their experiences in Japan. Mayu, who was taken aback when she found out that Carolina had appointed her to the position of curry minister in Hirayama's absence, made it clear that she was one of the individuals responsible for preparing today's curry. Alyssa inquired about Mayu's arrival, which resulted in Mayu providing a comprehensive presentation of her history. Cornelia, putting an emphasis on the fact that they had come to a decision together, suggested that they start their journey right away. After hearing the suggestion, Hirayama was taken aback and questioned whether or not she intended to join them. Sonia and her daughters were energized for the upcoming adventure by Ouroboros, who was unfazed by the situation and expressed her determination to retrieve the treasure that the bandit had stolen in order to supplement the family's income. Maria and Keiichi were given the instruction by Hirayama that the elves would take care of them while the rest of the group made preparations to embark on the journey using the light truck that had recently been acquired. In the meantime, festivities were in full swing in the spot where the bandit was hiding out. While under the influence of alcohol and feeling satisfied with themselves, the bandits took great pleasure in the notion that the village was almost entirely theirs. Following the king's decision to abandon the village due to its remote location, the villagers were left without the resources necessary to hire guards. An evil scheme was devised by the bandits, which consisted of killing all of the men and selling the women to slavers for financial gain. A member of the group who was more pragmatic, on the other hand, proposed an alternative strategy. This strategy would involve keeping the villagers alive, providing them with just enough food to survive, forcing them to work until they were exhausted, and reaping long-term benefits by establishing their hideout in the village. During the time that they were plotting, a bandit burst in and began yelling about the presence of dragons. In the course of his reflections, the leader of the group came to the realization that they were not in the forest of no returns, but rather some mountains. If there is only one dragon, the leader of the bandits claims that he will be able to easily handle it on his own. It turns out that there are a lot of them, and they are very large. It was a relentless onslaught of dragon zombies that the bandits, in their inebriated state, were unable to withstand, and this marked the crushing defeat and punishment of the Dark Devil Dragon. When Ouroboros demanded that they hand over the money, the terrified robbers reluctantly complied with his request, hoping to be forgiven. With a strong desire to make a contribution to the lesson, Sonia joined the mix. Cornelia gave the order to unleash a powerful attack known as the Black Dragon Roar, which caused shockwaves to be sent out and caused damage to the mountains that were in the surround area. With her full recovery under her belt, Mayu unleashed her strength, resolute in her commitment to safeguard Hirayama. As soon as the leader of the robbers was recognized by Ouroboros, she revealed that he had been a police officer in the past. He was a once honorable warrior who had now turned to a life of crime. The transformation of the former sword saint into a thief was a revelation to Ouroboros, who was aware of the rumors that was circulating about the problems that were occurring in the capital. The idea of capturing the leader alive rather than killing him was proposed by Alyssa. They would hand him over to the adventurers, Hirayama said, indicating that they agreed with this. Despite the fact that he was resigned to his fate, the defiant thief issued a challenge to them to fight, stating that he would rather die as a warrior. Cornelia, who was wary of the formidable combat skills possessed by the former sword saint, entrusted Hirayama with the responsibility of handling the situation, while Mayu expressed her concern for him personally. At the same time that Sonia was assuring Mayu, she affirmed that Hirayama's strength was the unquestionable greatest. Through a swift and decisive confrontation, Hirayama easily prevailed over the former sword saint, thereby ensuring that the group would emerge victorious. The group that had emerged victorious bound the bandits who had been defeated and then presented them to the villagers. The villagers presented the group with 200 gold coins as a token of their gratitude for the liberation from the bandits' oppression. The treasure that was taken from the bandits was estimated to be worth more than 9,000 gold coins, which was a significant boon for the villages that were involved. By the time the bandits were defeated, Mayu had the impression that her mission had been successfully completed, and the village was now at peace. Due to her appreciation for Hirayama's leadership, she contemplated the means by which she could repay him. This 29-year-old man evoked feelings that she had never experienced before, despite the fact that she is typically reserved. Once they were back at the house, Hirayama acknowledged Mayu's ability to perform mathematical tasks and appointed her to the position of accounting manager. Their accounting situation was significantly improved as a result of her abilities. In order to commemorate their accomplishment, the group indulging in a massive drinking party and taking pleasure in their triumph. At some point during the course of the night, Hirayama was taken aback when he found Mayu lying on his bed. Although he suggested that she go back to her own bed, Mayu informed him that she would prefer to sleep next to him. For reasons related to her age, Hirayama declined, stating that he was unable to have sexual relations with a high school student. When Mayu was upset, she questioned why he had a problem with sleeping with a girl who was in high school. Due to the fact that she was under the age of 18, Hirayama made it clear that it was inappropriate. Next, Mayu made a startling revelation. Despite the fact that she appeared to be 16 years old, she was actually 20 years old. In her explanation, she mentioned that she had been in a unique location where time moved in a different way, and that the passage of 1 year there was equivalent to the passage of just 2 days in another world. Hirayama acknowledged her as a grown woman dressed in a school uniform, despite the fact that he was uncertain about everything. Uncertain of the truth, he admitted that he liked her, and with that, their unconventional family expanded by one more member. The addition of Mayu, who has been reincarnated from the same world as Hirayama, has allowed Hirayama to devote more of their attention to farming, which has resulted in an increase in their overall productivity. Everything related to work, housing, housework, and distribution is operating without any problems. Now that they have finally established a foundation for their lives in this location, the slow farmer life of Hirayama is about to start. Cornelia-sama told him that she needs him to stay with her for a little longer today because it is the time to unseal the demon god. Cornelia indicates that she will go alone and that this battle can be dangerous for everyone except for her and Hirayama. Maria offers that she will join her if that is the case, but Cornelia declines and says that she will go alone. Cornelia reassures Hirayama that it is nothing serious and that the only thing that will be destroyed is the world due to the return of the demon god. Hirayama is surprised that he will have to go without them, so he asks Cornelia if it is a bad thing if the demon god returns. As they travel, they arrive at a serene and stunning island. In addition, Cornelia asserts that there is a demon god who was brought into existence by the corporation of the 12 demon lords. There is a possibility that the Black Knight, which is the remnant of the demon god, will come back to life if it is left unoccupied. It was initially the 12 pillars who were responsible for managing the island, but now it is only Cornelia who is in charge of doing so. Maria, the succubus, was born and raised in the human world. She is a member of a race that is persecuted in the demon world due to the political situation that exists there. Due to the fact that the island contained remnants of the demon god, it was made inaccessible to all demons, with the exception of the demon lords. As a consequence, she was not allowed to return. At this time, Cornelia is solely responsible for handling the situation concerned. Cornelia's efforts to make the island a safe place for succubus refugees to live are greatly appreciated by Hirayama. Hirayama mentions that he has some errands to run after Cornelia has left for home. These are tasks that Maria has requested that he complete. As he makes his way to the succubus settlement, he is taken aback to discover that the people who live there are emitting a potent odor, which is the complete antithesis of Maria's allure. Within their midst, he comes across two intrepid individuals who, similar to Miyamoto, manage to evade the training. Both Muraoka and Sakagami, who are currently in charge of the village, are originally from a different world. The fact that Sakagami possesses a cheat skill that enables him to generate gold makes it easier for him to evade and escape from training. After discovering the island, he was under the impression that if he controlled the succubus refugees who were seeking asylum, he would be safe. When Muraoka inquires about the menacing Black Knight, Sakagami responds that it will not cause any harm to them unless they demonstrate hostility. Sakagami also expresses his desire to amass power in order to bring their demon lord back to life. In order to establish his authority over the succubus, Sakagami assumed command of all of the trading routes that were located on the remote island. He took advantage of the creature's dependence on these goods because he was aware that having access to resources was essential for the creature's continued existence. An appearance of gold was all that was required to convince all of the merchants to support their cause. That power and wealth are of the utmost importance in this world is something that Sakagami stresses to Muraoka. Since Sakagami is responsible for the creation of this paradise-like setting, Muraoka is grateful to him. According to Sakagami, however, any attempt at physical intimacy with the succubus would be detrimental to their dominance and should be avoided at all costs. It is his suggestion that they satisfy themselves visually. Seeing how the succubus obediently follows orders is something that Muraoka finds to be ridiculous. When Hirayama thinks back on his history, he considers the majority of the heroes in his class to be scum, with the exception of Mayu. In the course of his investigation, he finds out that Sakagami's father, who is proud of the fact that their industry is known for exploiting workers, is the owner of the black company for which he had previously worked. Muraoka gives the succubus the instruction to have Devil's Black Rose ready within a week, despite the fact that Sakagami has given him orders. Hirayama is recognized by an elderly succubus who cautions him to refrain from tormenting them moving forward. Sophia-sama, the chief of their village, is the name she uses to tell people about herself. As the girls rush to assist Sophia, they notice Hirayama and immediately inquire as to whether or not he is a member of them. There is an attempt made by Hirayama to clarify that he is not associated with Sakagami and that he is merely looking for Sophia, Maria's mother, who passed away. Sophia is questioned by Hirayama regarding the response of the succubus to the demands made by Muraoka and Sakagami. She goes on to explain that in order for succubus to generate power, they must regularly consume sperm. The succubus are dependent on the Devil's Black Rose, which is a flower that is harvested annually on the island. Muraoka and Sakagami are the ones who control the island, and they take advantage of this dependence. Due to the fact that it possesses medicinal properties, this flower is extremely valuable and serves as the primary source of income for the villagers. Without the Devil's Black Rose, succuba, like Maria, are weakened despite the fact that they are not particularly strong. It is unclear to Sophia whether the two men have any connections to the world of demons. It is Hirayama's decision to confront them, but she is aware that this will only be a short-term solve. In order to assist the succubae in regaining their abilities, Sophia proposes that they take on the spirit of another individual, particularly a powerful individual such as himself. In spite of the fact that there are close to 150 succubae, Hirayama chooses to assist only the young girls, which number somewhere around 100. In spite of the difficulty, he uses the Night Emperor skill for 3 days and nights, and he is able to successfully restore the powers of the young succubae. As soon as he steps outside, he is confronted with an unexpected sight: more than 100 additional people. Sophia discloses that there are 10 additional villages on the island, and if all of the young succubae are counted, the total number of succubae on the island goes up to almost 1,000. In response to his feelings of being overpowered, Hirayama activates a new ability, fully aware that it will come at a significant cost. The Night Emperor transforms into the immortal Emperor of the Night, and he accepts the newfound power with a resolute determination to not retreat or falter in the present moment. Maria tells to the other girls that Succubus possesses a powerful desire for closeness and intimacy. In a state of nervousness, Mayu inquires as to whether or not they are concerned about Hirayama's participation in activities that are not appropriate. In response to any concerns, the girls say that they are completely unconcerned about the situation. Mayu acknowledges that she is experiencing some peculiar feelings regarding it, but she does not find the concept to be objectionable. While this is going on, Hirayama is able to successfully manage 1,000 partners thanks to the enhanced effectiveness of his Emperor of the Night skill. After successfully regaining their strength, the Succubi are now prepared to confront the group led by Muraoka. In response to Sakagami and Muraoka's inquiry about the Black Rose of the Devil, Sophia vehemently refuses to give them their harvest. Muraoka, who is taken aback by this resistance, makes fun of the group of Succubi, who appear to be powerless, and belittles them for not being able to defeat a group of goblins. The first person he threatens to kill is Sophia, as an illustration. The young Succubus, on the other hand, launches a full-force assault on him, and one by one, the rest of the Succubi join in, bringing him to the ground with their brutality. Sakagami, who utilized his cheat skill to create a gold golem, is the next person they intend to take against. Despite the fact that the Succubi are terrified, Hirayama confronts him and tells him that he cannot claim to be the strongest unless he can match Cornelia's strength. The golem vanishes, and it is now Sakagami's turn to take the initiative. Sakagami is perplexed by the fact that Hirayama is an elderly man, as he is unable to comprehend how someone of his age could possess such power. As Muraoka continues to intensify his assault on Sophia, he begins to use magic on her body and threatens to tear her apart. When the Succubi are brought to their knees, they appear to be defeated. A light truck driven by Maria, however, suddenly collides with Muraoka and Sakagami. This occurs out of nowhere. Maria and all of the other girls have arrived to provide assistance to Hirayama. Mayu is taken aback by the presence of other reincarnated heroes, and Sophia is even more taken aback by the fact that Cornelia is assisting Hirayama. Hirayama introduces himself as Hirayama, a farmer, and the girls express their concern for his extended absence. It is a joyous occasion for Maria to see her mother once more. While the girls are enjoying themselves at the beach, they change into their swimsuits and throw a delicious lunch party to express their gratitude to Hirayama for rescuing themselves and everyone else on the Succubi Island. Maria provides him with the information that she has successfully dealt with the intruders and that they are currently enjoying a delightful barbecue banquet. The Succubi, on the other hand, are hesitant to consume the sauce because it contains garlic. As a result, Maria decides to prepare a different dish that does not contain garlic. This dish is oyster agillo and devil boar stir fry, and it is made with ingredients that are found in the area. The Succubi adore it, as they experience a revitalization of their strength even in the absence of garlic, and they feel an abundance of energy within themselves. It is Hirayama's expectation that during the after-party, everyone will most likely drink until they pass out. Due to the fact that he has spent time with almost everyone on the island, the only person who could still be in his room is Sophia. Normally, he would find someone new in his room afterward. As he enters his room, he discovers Sophia sleeping on his bed, despite the fact that he has been under the impression that no one will come this time. She goes on to explain that Succubi are naturally attracted to powerful individuals, and that he was the one who piqued her interest during the afternoon battle. Her needs must be met, despite the fact that she is getting older. The transformation of Sophia into a stunning young woman comes as a surprise to Hirayama, who is hesitant about discrimination. At that precise moment, Maria walks into the room and expresses her displeasure that Sophia arrived earlier than she did. As a result of the fact that she has been missing Hirayama for such a long time, she insists that she cannot continue to hold back. The two of them come to the conclusion that they will participate in intimate activities together. Hirayama is adamantly opposed, citing ethical concerns as the reason for her opposition. However, Maria laughs off the idea, asserting that ethics do not exist for them. After learning that Cornelia enjoys miso curry, Hirayama generously provides the raw materials for making miso. Cornelia is excited about this discovery. Miso curry was a dish that Cornelia enjoyed. He gives the servants the responsibility of preparing the miso for her that is of the highest possible quality, and they divide the profits equally among themselves. From the perspective of someone who was born and raised in Japan, the act of sharing miso with other people is something that he finds to be very welcoming. In addition to this, they start manufacturing doboroku. which is a popular product that is distributed to the villages that are located in the surrounding area. Arisa is in charge of the business transactions, and Maria is in charge of transporting the goods using the light truck. Mayu provides assistance with accounting to ensure that everything runs smoothly, and the surplus of crops is used for their own personal consumption rather than being sold. Sonia is a total and utter neat, but her little guys put in a lot of effort despite the fact that they are extremely hardworking. At this very moment, Hirayama's new family is having a wonderful time on the farm and living a prosperous life. Throughout the course of a single day, Hirayama witnesses two objects that appear to be comets falling from the sky simultaneously. The sites of impact give rise to the appearance of two goat-like creatures, one of which is a male and the other of which is a female. Coco and Lulu are the names they use to introduce themselves, and they are both employees of the Administration Bureau of Superhuman Skills. As the one who is in charge of both time and space, Coronis is the one who commands them. It is explained to them that Coronis keeps a watchful eye on newcomers from Earth, particularly those who are making use of the blessings of the 8 million deities. The fact that a divine power is beginning to emerge in the land is something that they have just recently discovered. If Hirayama were to inquire of Mayu whether or not she possesses such capabilities or skills, she would be curious. To be more specific, Coco explains that they are looking for individuals who are in possession of a divine blessing that is so powerful that it has the potential to change the very nature of the world. In response to Hirayama's inquiry regarding their plans in the event that they come across an earthling who possesses extraordinary abilities, those plans are discussed. During their conversation, Coco reveals to him that it is beyond any doubt that they will completely destroy them. In the event that it is not the god of agriculture, Hirayama claims that he has no idea what is going on with the situation. It is revealed to him by Coco that Coronis has stated that he was able to sense the ecchi vibrations emanating from the erotic god. Coco brings this information to his attention. Hirayama is concerned about what he ought to do at this moment because he has the notion that the power might be connected to the skill that the Night Emperor possesses. This is the reason why he is concerned. When Hirayama is about to release the erotic god's energy, Lulu is able to detect the aroma of the energy that is about to be released. Hirayama responds to her inquiry about what he believed he would be able to conceal by stating that it is not the case. Regardless of the circumstances, he is not deceiving them in any way. The fact that Cornelia has allowed him to reside in this location is something that he discusses, as is the fact that she will not remain still if they make an attempt to touch an individual. Although this is the case, Coco and Lulu do not consider him to be credible. It has been asserted that the use of the name of the Demon Lord is a tactic that is so elementary school that it is comparable to lying. This opinion has been supported by evidence. The fact that Hirayama is an adult and that these guys are almost the same age as Keisha compels him to make an effort to keep his composure in the face of the situation. These individuals are allowed to communicate with Cornelia, despite the fact that Hirayama asserts that he is not making any statements. Coco asserts that there is no legal requirement for that to take place. As a matter of fact, he is dissatisfied with the fact that a male human being is speaking to one of the demon lords without using any honorifics. The blessings of a demonic lord cannot be bestowed upon a mere human being because it is impossible for them to do so. Cornelia ought to be demonstrated to him if he asserts that he is familiar with her. A demonstration of Ouroboros is given to them, and Hirayama makes an effort to persuade them that she is Cornelia's attendant. However, the children do not believe him. Hirayama is beginning to come to the conclusion that Cornelia must have constructed some kind of preventative barrier around this location as time goes on. In spite of this, Ouroboros explains to him that the barrier will need to be renewed on a regular basis, which consequently indicates that there is not a protective barrier in this location at the present time. At this moment, Hirayama is pondering the actions that are anticipated of him. Is it true that if they choose to commit annihilation, they will fight to the death instead of surrendering? The fact that it is merely a figure of speech is something that Lulu explains to them. To put it another way, the elderly man is obligated to provide evidence to them regarding whether or not he is qualified. It is for this reason that they are going to put him through a series of tests in order to ascertain whether or not he is worthy of the authority that God bestows upon him. Reversi, a board game, will be used as the first test in this particular endeavor. Based on the evidence that has been presented, it would appear that Demon Lord Coronos gives permission for the two of them to utilize this particular method of testing. The purpose of this may be to put his wisdom to the test in order to determine how he ought to handle the power that the god possesses. Due to the fact that it has been a very long time since he has taken part in this game, He does not possess a level of self-confidence that is particularly notable. He does not have a clear understanding of how they will play this game in this world. However, judging by the manner in which this young girl is speaking, it appears to be that she is quite good at the game. On the other hand, his performance is, at best, equivalent to that of an average person. Coco and Lulu make fun of him because of his poor performance in this game. Both of them are frustrated with him. On the other hand, the game will start at last once the color has been chosen after it has been determined. The end result is that Hirayama emerges victorious over Lulu on multiple occasions. It was a revelation to her that he possessed such a great deal of power. Coco yells at him the moment Lulu starts crying, cursing him for making a young girl cry. Hirayama is currently experiencing a sensation that can be described as being electrified at this very moment. The cathartic feeling that he is experiencing is greater than it has ever been. Hirayama is under the impression that he has never fully appreciated how thrilling it is to bring a young girl out of her arrogance and bring her to her knees. Hirayama is brought back to his senses by Mayu, who beats him with a slap. The act is greatly appreciated by Hirayama. Lulu notices this and makes the observation that it indicates that he is a complete and utter nerd and that he is only capable of using his brains. Coco expresses his anger and explains that he must pay for causing his sister to cry. He also mentions that he will be confronting him in the future. There will be a cooking competition as the second test. Coco is self-assured in his ability to cook, and it would appear that Coronas has a strong preference for earth food. It has been determined that Coco is qualified to serve as Corona's personal chef, as a result of the fact that Coronas is an impatient master. Immediately after they begin cooking, it becomes a competition to see who can prepare an earthling dish first. In the end, the winner will be determined by speed. In the midst of Coco's cutting, Hirayama has already set his pot on fire, and he triumphs with relative ease by making use of a meal that has already been prepared. The third test is supposed to be a test of strength. According to Lulu, they will at long last have the opportunity to witness him pleading and crying. The fact that they are the most trusted retainers of Coronas leads them to believe that they must possess a level of strength comparable to that of Ouroboros. They do not raise any objections to the fact that it is a two-down situation. During the beginning of the battle, Hirayama is holding his hoe in front of him. When Coco and Lulu see his power, they are terrified because they have realized that he is not the weakling they had previously believed him to be. Cornelia, in the meantime, arrives at the party and makes a statement that she can detect the aroma of sweet curry. Both Coco and Lulu are frightened when they see her. Cornelia takes note of them and expresses some dissatisfaction with the fact that the curry does not contain any meat. However, she takes pleasure in eating it regardless. Cornelia becomes aware of the two intruders and realizes that they are retainers of Coronas as she observes them. She extends her apologies, stating that it was an error on her part and that she ought to have taken into consideration the expiration date of her barrier. In her capacity as a close friend of Coronas, she urges Hirayama to extend forgiveness to them on her behalf. Along with Coco and Lulu, they apologize. Lulu is astonished by the fact that Hirayama possesses both mental prowess and physical strength, and she feels that it is unfair to her heart. She asserts that she is going to put her in her place not only physically but also emotionally. After Cornelia discovers that Coco is capable of preparing food from the earth, she invites them to accompany her and suggests that they prepare a massive feast as a means of expressing their regret. This evening, later on, they throw a massive party in the living area of the house. Food preparation is the responsibility of Coco and Ouroboros. The presence of another male in the home is something that Hirayama finds to be invigorating. Lulu is on Hirayama's bed when he goes to bed early and discovers her there. It is his last examination, according to her. Lulu divulges the fact that she is 200 years old and has the ability to alter her body in any way she chooses. By doing so, she is able to persuade Hirayama to engage in intimate activities with her. The following morning, when they awaken, Lulu recounts that the previous night was an extraordinary one, unlike anything she has ever experienced before. The impression is that Hirayama has been successful in putting her in her place. As soon as Hirayama comes to his room's window, he is convinced that he has forgotten something very significant. They are going to throw another party later on that same evening. When Hirayama goes to his bed, he discovers Coco already there. The fact that Hirayama is an experienced fighter in bed is something that Coco mentions that Lulu told him about. According to Hirayama, there is a significant issue at hand, and he makes it clear that although he is a supporter of LGBT individuals, he is not one of them personally. Coco reveals that he has been afflicted with a curse. The tragic story of a young man who was discovered in the cursed spring, deep in the hinterlands of the magic world, is the source of everything that has happened. Since that terrible event, the curse has made it so that any woman who takes a bath in that spring will magically transform into a male. When someone takes a bath in warm water, they experience a momentary return to their form before the bath. Coco transforms into a stunning woman by pouring a bucket of hot water over his head and then letting it soak in. According to Coco, he is aware that Hirayama is concerned about their youthful appearance, which is why he attempted to alter himself. Coco inquires as to whether or not it is enough. Hirayama is happy that he has shown the twins the power of an adult. While they are talking about how they will be coming back, Lulu gives him a kiss on the cheeks. When it comes to the next occasion, Coco recommends that Hirayama to make water that has been infused with the fire of hell itself. In spite of the fact that they were mischievous, the twins took their responsibilities seriously in the end, so Hirayama is looking forward to having them back. With Cornelia's assistance, they were able to successfully make soy sauce, which was a process that was very similar to the one they used to make miso the previous time. Hirayama makes the shocking discovery that there is a sea in the distance, which brings him one step closer to realizing his dream of preparing a sashimi platter that is composed entirely of the ingredients that are found in this world. Kachiya has constructed an impressive chicken coop, which Hirayama finds appealing. As a result, Hirayama finds out that there are creatures in this world that resemble chickens. His list of things to do includes purchasing chickens, and he is successful in purchasing some eggs and other items of a similar nature. With regard to the primary structure, it is getting very close to being finished, but Kachiya has not yet finished the interior design. The responses have not been particularly encouraging, despite the fact that we have asked around for suggestions. However, due to his lack of experience in interior design, the young man decides to pray at the offering box instead of offering his assistance first. Kachiya is moved to action as a result of the book that he receives as a response, which contains examples of designs. The boy is taken aback by the fact that a straightforward guidebook containing photographs of temples could have such an impact. After she has completed the task, Kachiya queries the young man about his meal. He says that it's nothing more than an egg on rice, but Kachiya cautions him that it could potentially make him feel queasy. The young man gives her the assurance that he has applied some purifying magic to it, so he is not concerned about salmonella getting into it. He asks Kachiya to sample the egg dish that he has prepared, and although the young girl is initially uncertain about whether or not she is able to consume it, she ultimately finds that she enjoys it and finds it to be the ideal combination. The boy suggests that a small amount of soy sauce be added to the dish. A woman named Maria walks in and says that she is interested in trying it, and that she also enjoys it. In a short amount of time, their house is completely taken over by an enormous egg craze, and breakfast is now typically comprised of either an omelette or a fried egg. However, there are a variety of perspectives regarding omelettes. Some people favor them with sugar, while others prefer them without sugar. The curry powder is what Cornelia likes to use in hers. The boy makes the decision to put an end to the argument by preparing omelettes that are both sweet and unsweetened. For fried eggs, there is a similar divide, with some people favoring soy sauce while others choose salt as their preferred seasoning. The household makes the most of the variety, despite the fact that it is different. Unexpectedly, the elf queen shows up at their doorstep, accompanied by a large group of elven young ladies. When the young boy inquires about the situation, the elf queen responds by stating that she has arrived to request a favor from the boy. The young boy recognizes two people who are familiar to him among the crowd. She conveys to him that she is carrying a request from them, as the elf queen has informed him. In the form of elven farmers, they have brought in new residents to their community. In spite of the fact that the elves have been making significant advancements in a variety of domains, such as the construction of structures and waterways, the most recent additions, who asserted that they were apprentices, were the ones who were present during the passionate night. It would appear that they were unable to fully forget the experience. Nevertheless, the young man is not the same person he used to be, and he is aware that he cannot force them to leave. He is a formidable opponent thanks to his Lord of the Night Mark 0 skill, which is empowered. When compared to an entire island population of Succubus, a small number of elves is nothing. At this point, the challenge is to find a place where these girls can set up their beds. Their brand new home is finished, and the young boy is ecstatic about it. A shrine, a kitchen, a bathroom, and a toilet are all located on the first floor of the building. In addition to that, there is a large living room or party room where they have been having a good time. It is easily able to accommodate approximately 30 people. Another party room can be found on the tatami floor, which is located upstairs. A sizable bedroom and several private rooms can be found on the second floor. The young boy is overjoyed by the design, which is in the style of Japan and brings back memories of their home in Japan. In her explanation, Keiji explains that the previous room is perfect for standing while eating, whereas this one is perfect for sitting, having a drink, and unwinding. In addition, they have a courtyard that is ideal for hosting parties outside. After that, Keiji demonstrates the enormous bathtub to them and explains that there is a rationale behind its size. After making their way to the second floor, they discover a roomy bedroom that is reminiscent of an old-fashioned love hotel, complete with a round bed. As Katya reveals, she discovered a room that was very similar to the one he gave her in the Japanese book, and she included all of the accessories. She opens a drawer and pulls out a few items, including a few items that are pink in color. The young man is taken aback and inquires where she obtained them. Sonia informed Keiji that she had seen them in the catalog, and Keiji mentioned that she was going to the shrine. As a result of the fact that they had some cash left over after the construction was finished, she made the decision to go all in. The boy is adamant that the pink things are not permitted to be touched. Keiji reveals that she obtained additional items from the shrine. She also pulls out a massive massager and mentions that she saw them in the magazine that he gave her. She also mentions that there was a room that contained these. Sonia tells everyone that the massager feels amazing the following morning, and she does so with a lot of enthusiasm. In a manner that is identical to how Katya had described it, she continues to emphasize how incredible it already is. Hirayama is taken aback by this information, and she immediately consults Katya to determine whether or not she has made use of it. When the young girl responds, she mentions that Mayu had a similar one in Japan, which piques her interest. This is the beginning of her response. Her question is centered on the massager that she is using. In the hopes that they have only used it for the purpose for which it was intended, which was to massage, Hirayama is hoping. Maria and Ouroboros have both indicated that they would be interested in making use of the massager in each of their individual experiences. The massager craze has completely taken over the household and is running the show. In a typical scenario, each and every one of them would be all over Hirayama at this very moment. However, everyone is currently preoccupied with the brand new massager. Hirayama is of the opinion that it would be a pleasant experience to have a brief period of peace and quiet every once in a while. This would finally make it possible for him to get a good night's sleep and rid himself of the exhaustion and tranquility that he has been lacking. In spite of the fact that a week has passed, the fact that there is only one massager is still the case. Although Hirayama is curious about whether or not they pass it in between them, it seems that they are still going strong. This is despite the fact that they are still going strong. He was under the impression that they would lose interest and come back in a very short amount of time. If you put it that way, it is a little bit depressing to think about the fact that the boy is contemplating whether or not he has truly lost to a simple massaging wand. But when you put it that way, it is a little bit depressing. The young boy eventually becomes aware of a voice that asks, "Is it the power you desire?" As time goes on, during the course of their conversation, he is having a conversation with a massive Lord of the Night, who claims that he will grant him the power that he desires. In addition to reaching a higher level of his ability, Lord of the Night, he has also started to acquire Night Lord's breathing, which is an additional power that has become active. The young boy in his hand experiences a power that appears to be beyond explanation. The technique that was utilized by the individual who was formerly known as Gold Fingers has been replicated in this new skill through the use of a replication. Having this ability enables one to obtain information regarding the existence of the man. A knock is heard at his door, and Sonia and Ouroboros are present to answer it at that precise moment. They claim that they have become increasingly bored with playing with the toy, and as a result, they have made the decision to sneak back in. The young man is of the opinion that the present moment is the perfect opportunity to put his very recently acquired skill to the test. Ouroboros explains that she has been by her master's side for a considerable amount of time, and she believes that she has a good understanding of him by this point. This is despite the fact that the girls are a little anxious about being able to witness his excitement. He is in possession of a great deal of power, and up to this point, no one has been able to compete with him in terms of power ability. In the same way that they have done in the past, they are going to take this individual. Rising Squirt is the name of the new technique that has been developed, and it is denoted by the name Goldfinger. Ouroboros makes her way down the stairs in the morning of the following day, all the while reciting that her master is something truly remarkable. Even though they acknowledge that he has always been awesome, the girls believe that his new technique is completely insane, This is despite the fact that they respect him for his awesomeness. This is something that Sonia confirmed. Within the context of their inquiry, the young ladies inquire as to whether or not they would be unable to compete with him if they utilize their combined potential. After a period of time has passed, when they enter Hirayama's bedroom, he is ready to take all of them with him at that point. At the same time that he is adamant that he will not forgive anyone who makes an effort to defend themselves against his assault, he employs his exceptional method. All of the girls eventually come to terms with the fact that his capabilities are significantly more advanced than those of any machine. This realization occurs as time passes. All of his rivals are absent. Despite the fact that there were a great number of nights that were peaceful throughout the entirety of the night, he would eventually come to destroy his tranquility by his own hands. In response to the sound of someone knocking on the door, the young boy leaves the house. That is the name of Cornelia. Considering the late hour of the night, he makes an inquiry about the reason she is present in this location. Cornelia tells him that the door has been opened once more and that they should start their journey at this point by following the instructions that she has given them. Due to the fact that Hirayama is having trouble understanding what she is referring to, he has requested that she provide a more in-depth explanation concerning her destination. Cornelia informs him that they will be traveling to Japan, and he is surprised about the news. It's hard for Hirayama and the others to believe that they've actually arrived in Japan after traveling all the way there. Cornelia claims that there is a gate in her castle that can occasionally connect the two worlds, and that gate was fortunate enough to be open at the time. Her revelation of the shocking truth that the gate is connected to the restaurant in Sapporo where she worked a long time ago is a revelation that she makes. It would only happen once every 10 years for the convergence to take place. A young boy recognizes Cornelia and refers to her as his great-great-great-grandmother while they are both at the restaurant. When the girls realize that this is the world that the boy and Mayu had come from, they are completely taken aback. Hirayama inquires of Cornelia the reason behind her decision to bring them along with her this time. She makes a gesture toward Mayu and says that, considering her status as a student, she is of the opinion that she ought to be sent back to her house. But when it came to other people, such as Miyamoto, she would not even bother to make an effort. That, in Mayu's opinion, is correct. Cornelia responds to Hirayama's inquiry about him by telling him to do whatever he pleases. At the end of the day, he is an adult, and he has the ability to choose his own destiny. Mayu is under the impression that she would like to remain with Hirayama. However, it is not as if they are engaged or anything like that, so she will have to return sooner or later. Her sadness stems from the fact that she believes this to be the final goodbye. Cornelia is questioned by Hirayama about the current plan of action. They arrive at the UAKZ building after Cornelia has removed a bag of money from her purse. Cornelia is being paid respect by everyone there, and she is being referred to as the mistress. Hirayama is in a state of shock and is unable to comprehend what is taking place. Cornelia explains that if they want to convert their gold coins into Japanese yen, the only people who could assist them, other than themselves, would be these individuals. The origin of the gold would give rise to an excessive number of questions through conventional channels. Hirayama inquires as to why they really require yen in the first place. As far as Cornelia is concerned, the yen is a risk-free asset that is always required. Since we are on the subject of gold coins, she has been experiencing some difficulties in her world as of late. Hirayama inquires of Cornelia as to what the issue is here. The deflation of currency is something that Cornelia explains to him. There have been issues brought about by the fact that the value of coins has been increasing in proportion to the decrease in the total number of coins that are in circulation. It comes as a surprise to the young man to learn that she even has a fundamental understanding of economics. She informs him that a significant number of coins suddenly vanished from circulation while they were in circulation in a particular region. These coins have vanished, and the boy has some idea where they went. Cornelia is curious as to the reason behind the concentration of this deflation on the geographic region surrounding the boy's residence. The young boy finds himself perplexed and inquires, if the other world is experiencing difficulties with deflation, wouldn't exchanging the gold coins for yen just make the problem even worse? She claims that she is not to blame for this situation. She is, in fact, the demon lord of self-servitude according to the boy's perception. In exchange for the gold coins, they have received 100 million yen. The boy is presented with a bundle of cash by Cornelia, who then requests that he take it. They are going to have to remain in this location for the time being because the gate back is not yet available. He will require money in order to pay for lodging. Despite the fact that he has been working here for almost 10 years and has his own savings, The young man has expressed his gratitude for the offer, however, he is unable to accept her money. The young boy inquires about the amount of time that will pass before the gate begins to function normally again. The average time, according to Cornelia, is somewhere around 3 weeks. In light of the fact that he is going to be leaving for Tokyo, she inquires about their plans. He comes to the conclusion that they will also be traveling to Tokyo in approximately 10 days, and he suggests that they take a tour of Hokkaido while they are in the area. Every single one of the girls inquires as to whether or not he is certain that they are permitted to accompany him. Do not be concerned, the young man assures them he will be right there with them. The region of Hokkaido is home to some of the most delicious seafood in the entire nation. If the food is truly superior to the food that he prepares, Sonia inquires about it. Hirayama asserts that he is unable to compete with professionals, which causes the girls to become enthusiastic. When he arrives at the bank, the receptionist informs him that his account belongings are currently frozen due to disagreements regarding his inheritance. Hirayama is taken aback because she believes that they are presuming that he has passed away. However, they are required to wait at least 7 years before a missing person is declared. It is beyond his comprehension what is taking place. Mayu responds that she is a poor student and that the only money she has is 15,000 yen in her purse when he asks her as to whether or not she has any money. To put it another way, Cornelia is currently on her way to Tokyo, and the only money they have left is 500,000 yen, which is split between his wallet and Mayu's purse. This amount of money is not sufficient to get them to Tokyo. Using this amount of money, it is obvious that they will not be able to provide meals and a place to sleep for a period of 3 weeks. After that, they hastily leave in an attempt to find a way to earn money. It is necessary for them to discover a procedure that is not only speedy and reliable, but also has the potential to bring in a substantial amount of money. A horse race track is the most unstable place that man has ever known, and they find themselves there. Because palm-top rabbits are known for their reliance on instinct when it comes to intuition, Elisa claims that there is no better place to earn money than this, despite the fact that there is no other place. They are unparalleled, and in many kingdoms, in order to prevent them from betting on competitions, they have been prohibited from doing so. Her prediction has come true. They have emerged victorious in the wager. Observing this makes Hirayama feel foolish for actually carrying out his duties, but he is relieved that things are beginning to improve. They make a purchase of a seafood meal, which they adore, and despite the fact that they have made a small expenditure, Sonia's instincts continue to succeed, and their stockpile grows to approximately 200,000 yen. The chief executive officers of Sakagami Industries, Akira Sakagami and Loki Jodo, a giant in the e-commerce industry, Kiji Murazato, are present. Kiji is perplexed as to why the common people always eat at such filthy establishments. Akira expresses her regret and explains that the racetrack does not have any other dining establishments. He needs to be aware of the fact that in order for them to conduct business with the common people, they should occasionally visit these filthy places in order to better comprehend the sensibilities of the common people. When Hirayama discovers that Akira is the chief executive officer of the sweatshop where he formerly worked, it fills him with a sense of satisfaction that he made the decision to relocate to the other world. Kiji is still perplexed as to what it is about this that the average person finds so exciting. Afterwards, he inquires about the child with blue hair and the high school student who were sitting in close proximity to them. Has he taken a liking to someone else again? Akira asks with a smile that is reminiscent of villain. Kiji asks if he could make a request for the usual team, despite the fact that he is certain the communists cannot even fathom the fact that out of the 800,000 people who go missing every year in Japan, almost 100,000 of them are kidnapped by secret organizations that are maintained by the most powerful people in the world. Because of Akira Sakagami, he is certain that people would never be able to imagine being completely manipulated by a simple whim on their part. Despite the fact that Hirayama is perplexed by the fact that Sonia's hit rate has been approximately 80% up to this point, he is not overly concerned because the slow and steady wins appear to be working out. Sonia, on the other hand, reveals to him that Maria has placed all of the $400,000 that they had on the same horse. The horse that she has placed a wager on, Lusty Pink, appears to be gradually losing ground, while the horse that she has wager on, number 7, Elite Sweat, appears to be gaining ground. It appears as though something has gotten into her. As a matter of fact, the number 7 is extremely quick and never stops moving forward. Due to the fact that they have placed all of their money on the horse ranked 3rd, Hirayama does not believe that this is good news. It is a source of great joy for Akira and Kiji that their horse is winning. but this is due to the fact that every other horse has been injected with drugs. This horse has cost Kiji 100 million yen, which is all of the money he has available for spending this month. Despite the fact that he was aware of the outcome, he must admit that he desired to increase that wager. It is unfortunate that when they begin discussing the amount of 1 or 2 billion, it becomes rather difficult to conceal the involvement of the organization. What are they going to do now? Hirayama is concerned and asks Maria what they are going to do. The number 3 is brought back into the game after Maria uses his special magic, which is called Muscle Maxer, on it. Following an outstanding performance, it takes the lead among 8 horses, leading the competition in the dust to secure an astounding victory, with number 7 coming in second place. Hirayama is overjoyed that they were victorious, but Kiji is in a state of disbelief and is unable to comprehend what is taking place. Because Teji believes that he needs to vent his frustration on the 2 girls, the one with blue hair and the high school student from earlier, he tells them that it is okay and that there is no point in crying over milk that has been spilled. During the time that the other members of the group are taking in the scene, Kachia, Mayu, and Elisa are staying at the accommodation to rest. Maria responds to Sonia's request for appreciation for all of her efforts by stating that if that is the case, then she is also deserving of some. The girls talk to Hirayama about how it makes them feel a certain way, and they inquire as to whether or not they are unable to do it at this moment. Hirayama makes an effort to explain that they are currently in Japan and that they are unable to go outside and do things like that. The statement made by Maria is that it is fine if no one sees. She performs a spell that is a combination of soundproofing and presence concealment through the use of magic. It is impossible for anyone outside of this box to detect their presence if they are contained within this box. As a result of Sonia's assurance that it would not be a problem at this time, they decide to expose their bodies and minds to the natural environment. Hirayama took the girls shopping before they went on their sightseeing tour in Tokyo. She wanted them to buy contemporary clothing that would help them blend in with contemporary Japanese society, so she took them shopping. When they are finally ready to meet Cornelia in Tokyo, the boy suggests that they wear hats so that they can blend in with the crowd more effectively. This will allow them to communicate more effectively with Cornelia. When the girls finally make it to the airport, they are overjoyed to see the airplanes that are waiting for them. On the other hand, Maria and Kachia talk about the fact that they are both terrified of flying to great heights. In spite of this, they are able to arrive in Tokyo without any problems, and once they arrive, they are able to meet Cornelia. Cornelia tells the boy that she is dressed in a maid's uniform, which surprised him. Cornelia's explanation causes him to be surprised. According to her explanation, she wore it as her uniform when she worked in a restaurant, and she believes that it should not be a problem for her to wear it outside of the restaurant. After some time, the young man realizes that his efforts to blend in with the crowd are, to some extent, unsuccessful. The train is so impressive that the girls are awestruck by it. They compare it to a gigantic snake, which is analogous to a monster that exists in a different world. They are taken aback and surprised when they see people entering the building. Cornelia reveals that she, too, experienced a reaction that was very similar to theirs when she first rode the train. Kataya is taken aback by the towering structures, and it is possible that she is curious about the sophisticated magic architecture that was utilized in the construction of these structures. Maria, on the other hand, is intrigued by the question of where the power for the trains and planes comes from, and she is of the opinion that it must be some kind of potent magic. Everyone is taken aback when the boy reveals that there is no magic in this world. This revelation comes as a comprehensive surprise to everyone. They are initially under the impression that it is a joke. However, the young man insists that he is serious and explains that rather than having magic, they have technology. This causes them to be confused. After having lunch on the train while they are traveling, Cornelia takes them to a location that she refers to as the Holy Land of Japanese culture. This location is the epicenter of the entire country. Cornelia takes them there. Cornelia admits that she is already dressed up as a maid, and that standing there allows her to bask in the praise of the people. This admittance sheds light on the fact that she is a person who seeks attention. This is a response to the boy's question about why she is in this particular location, which he asked. The question that Hirayama pondered was whether or not the place that Cornelia had brought them to was, in fact, a holy land of some kind. Due to the fact that Elsa possesses such a keen sense of smell, she was able to detect a strong odor of sweat, which indicated that they might not be in as holy of a place as they had believed they were. Even though they were making an effort to blend in with their surroundings, the group caused tourists to mistakenly believe that they were a group of extremely cute cosplayers. This occurred despite the fact that they were attempting to blend in with their surroundings. The attention that Cornelia, Katya, and Sonia received from tourists who eagerly approached them and attempted to take pictures of them was something that brought them a great deal of entertainment. Maria, on the other hand, did not take part in the excitement that was going on. At first glance, it seemed as though she was dissatisfied, and she questioned whether or not she was more attractive than the other succubi. Maria was reassured by the young man that the issue was not about their physical attractiveness, and he reflected on the efforts he had made to find clothing that would assist them in blending in with their surroundings. Maria was relieved to hear this. She believed that the locals would appreciate it more if Maria revealed her true form, so Cornelia made the suggestion that Maria reveal her true form. Maria went to the ladies' changing room and emerged in her true succubus form, which was met with positive reactions from those who were observing her. This occurred as a result of the fact that she had gone to the ladies' changing room. Their happiness, however, was short-lived because the staff intervened and stated that Maria's outfit was excessively extravagant. This caused their happiness to be short-lived. They removed her from the situation without any delay, which left the other people bewildered. Cornelia gave the idea of someone from the boy's previous life harboring resentment toward him a fleeting thought, but he quickly dispelled the notion by pointing out that he was not well-liked and did not have any enemies that he was aware of who were hostile toward him. In spite of the unexpected turn of events, the group continued to take pleasure in their time in Japan, and they were able to successfully complete their sightseeing experiences without encountering any additional difficulties. That evening, they were successful in securing a room in a hotel, and while Katya was out shopping at the grocery store, she made a purchase that appeared to be of little consequence. She bought a package of contraceptives. Despite the fact that they had spent their evenings practicing martial arts, Sonia made a humorous remark about how they had never felt the need to put their skills to use. She attempted to provoke Sonia, who promptly silenced her, despite the fact that Mayu is always ready with a tease. Sonia also made an attempt to provoke her. When Sonia, who was experiencing a certain amount of boredom while shopping, made the decision to return to the room, she delegated the decision of what to drink to Katya and Mayu. Suddenly, the power went out completely, which was an unanticipated event that took place as they were approaching the counter to pay their bills. Two people who were not known to them made an attempt to kidnap them at some point during the darkness that followed. As a result of the fact that the proprietor of the shop was unable to see anything, he strongly encouraged them to keep their composure. However, Katya and Mayu had already vanished before anyone could begin to react to their disappearance. The following scene depicts a group of young girls who are only wearing their underwear and are displaying signs of being attracted to various members of the elite. Akira then becomes aware of a group of high school students who are standing in front of him. His attention is drawn to them. These students are the daughters of people who have racked up an extremely high amount of debt, which they are currently carrying that they have accumulated. Please let him know that the girls he has requested should be arriving at any moment now. It would be helpful if you could let him know this information. Both Katya and Mayu are currently being held captive by two different individuals as a result of the fact that they were kidnapped. You believe that they do not believe that they will be able to conceal their actions when you say that they are kidnapping people and stripping them down to their clothing. Keiji say that she will see that they are able to escape from the laws. When you listen to the girls pleading in front of them, they are pleased to hear them. Keiji claims that these young ladies were destined to serve their betterment from the very beginning, because they are the most powerful people in this society. Akira reveals to the young girls that they have been brought to this location by an organization that is supported by the most prominent financiers located all over the world. Despite the fact that the Prime Minister possessed an incredible amount of power, it was impossible for him to prevent them from carrying out their plans. Those who are successful take advantage of those who are in need, while those who are unsuccessful are compelled to endure a precarious existence throughout it all. As far as Akira is concerned, this bleak reality is a representation of the genuine character of democratic Japan. There is no exception to this rule. Keiji is considering the possibility of confronting Akira by utilizing her magical abilities, taking into consideration the gravity of the situation. In addition, Keiji is well aware of the fact that her physical combat abilities are not particularly powerful. Hiji intervenes and puts an end to Akira's verbal assault, which was one of the factors that was contributing to the atmosphere becoming more and more tense. As far as he is concerned, the endeavor of attempting to establish dominance over these vulnerable girls through the use of words is an endeavor that is fruitless. Instead of those words, the outcome will be determined by the actions that are taken. As a result of the fact that Keiji is aware that the girls might be feeling a chill, she suggests that they be provided with some warmth. It would appear that Akira is in a good mood as he launches an assault on Mayu. Mayu comes under attack. Adding insult to injury, a newcomer arrives just as the situation is becoming more serious. This is a significant development. This enigmatic individual cuts through the wall with dexterity, displaying a unique ability that is typically associated with picking fruit at high altitudes. While simultaneously bringing the kidnappers under control in a short amount of time, he conveys to Kachiya and Mayu his deepest regret for his tardiness in arriving at the scene. Akira gives the order for his men in black to assault the boy as the conflict becomes more intense. Maria and Sonia's arrival brings about an increase in the level of complexity of the situation. Maria cautions against killing the professionals, and Sonia guards her carrots, both of which are indications that the story contains a combination of humor and seriousness. Cornelia makes her entrance into the story, and as she does so, she uses her millennial chains to magically restrain Akira and Kiji. The narrative of the story is enhanced by the addition of this supernatural component. Akira is unfazed by the fact that she continues to insist on the powerful support of the organization, which creates the conditions for a conflict between various ideologies and various powers. Even though the situation was already chaotic, the fact that Cornelia made a phone call to an unknown person adds an additional layer of mystery to the situation. Within the narrative, questions are raised regarding the larger political landscape as a result of the inclusion of the Prime Minister's involvement and the subsequent dissolution of the organization. This is because the Prime Minister was involved in the situation. It is because of the lack of clarity regarding their position that the men in black decide to withdraw from the scene. The decision that Cornelia makes to spare the villains demonstrates both a sense of justice and mercy, which underscores the complexity of her character portrayal. A humorous element is introduced into the story by the fact that the attempt of the villains to flee is unsuccessful and is prevented by pocket rabbits that are concealed in a bag of carrots. This is the source of the humorous element. In the morning of the following day, when there are 8 hours left until the tunnel that leads back to their world opens, Cornelia's character is given an additional layer of emotional complexity as a result of the revelation that she made about the death of her husband 10 years ago. As he struggles to make a decision, Hirayama thinks about the radiant moments that they shared during Hirayama's journey in the other world. These moments were shared by both of them. His character is given more depth as a result of this moment of introspection, and the fact that he mentions his parents, who have both passed away, makes his decision more significant from an emotional point of view. As Cornelia suggests the possibility of returning with them, Hirayama begins to reflect on the contagious joy that they experience on a daily basis from the moment she makes the suggestion. In addition to this, he contemplates the taste of his curry, which conjures up memories of the dishes that Cornelia's late husband used to cook. Hirayama gives his consent to join them after the decision has been made, therefore accepting the opportunity to start a new life that is full of companionship and memories that they share in common with one another.